You know, sometimes all you need is 20 seconds of insane courage. Just literally 20 seconds of just embarrassing bravery. And I promise you, something great will come of it.
To all the ladies in the place with style and grace, allow me to lace these lyrical douches in your bushes who rock grooves and make moves with all the mommies. The back of the club sipping Moet is you find me. The back of the club macking hoes, my crew's behind me. Mad question asking, blunt passing, music blasting. But I just can't quit because one of these honeys Biggie got to creep with, sleep with, keep the ep a secret. Why not? Why blow up my spot? Cause we both got hot. Now check it. I got more Mac than Craig and in the bed. Believe me, sweetie, I got enough to f needy. No need to be greedy. I got mad friends with Benzes. See notes by the layers. True fucking players. Jump in the Rover and come over. Tell your friends jump in the GS3. I got the karmic tree. Honey, really, I'm asking. Most of these niggas think they be macking, but they be acting. Who they attracting with that line? What's your name? What's your sign? Soon as he buy that wine, I just creep up from behind and ask you what your interests are. Be with things to make you smile. What numbers to dial? You gon' be here for a while. I'm gon' call my crew. You gon' call your crew. We can rendezvous at the bar around 2. Plans to leave, throw the keys to you. Seize, put the truck up front and roll up the next blunt so we can steam on the way to the telly. Go fill my belly. A T-bone steak, cheese, eggs, and Welch's grape. Conversate for a few, cause we gon' do what we came to do. Ain't that right, boo? Forget the telly, we just go to the crib and watch a movie in the jacuzzi, smoke L's while you do me. Imaginary ends is giving ends to my friends and it feels stupendous. Tremendous cream, fuck $1 and a dream. Still tote gat strapped with infrared beams. Chopping O's, smoking low, optimals, money holes and clothes, all a nigga knows. A foolish pleasure, whatever. I had to find the buried treasure, so grams I had to measure. However, living better now, coochie now. Drop top BMs, I'm the man, girl, too.
Hey, hi, hello. What's up, internet? How's it going out there? I hope everyone is doing well and good. Uh, Happy Saturday. Happy Catterday. Uh, Sorry, I'm so late. So very fucking late. I didn't mean to. I I swear I'm trying. I simply don't know what to do. I wake up, I edit, I post, I eat dinner, and then I get ready for stream, and then I stream. Like, that's every day. Every day I do this. And every day I run out of time. There's just not enough time. I feel like the only time I could do it was when I just streamed every other day. But I just feel like that's not enough. I guess it's only one day more this way, right? Wait, 1 or 2 days more. How does time work? It would be like, yeah, I guess depending on which days, right? I could do 3 days and it would be every other day. Wait, no, because then it would change. So it would be 4 days a week still. I might do that. I don't know. But then I still, like, never get a day off. Which I haven't been doing anyway. I don't know. I need, like, a professional schedule maker. Does ChatGPT make schedules? Probably. Um, let's what else? What else? I made a steak and it was really good. Very good. I finally took a shower. Um, that was also very nice. Love a good shower. It was really nice today. I wanted to go outside, but then I was too busy editing. Looking out the window like, looks nice. Tomorrow. Tomorrow I will go get sun. Oh yeah, my sunburn is like mostly gone. Like good up here on the shoulders and stuff, but the like down here, not so good. Still kind of peely, but it feels a lot better, at least. So there's that. Um I'm just tired. I don't have that much planned, because I'm late and tired. But just like call it earlier tonight and try again tomorrow. Uh, like fills me with despair every time. I like look at the clock and I'm like, oh fuck. Oh fuck. Just every time, every day. I don't know. I could just like dream when I wake up, but I'm just very much not a morning person. It takes me so long to like wake up. Uh, I don't know. I don't know. thinking about it, trying, planning. My stomach really hurts. I don't really know why. Oh yeah, I had to take a medication that like hurts my stomach. That's right. I forgot about that. It sucks. It makes my stomach hurt for like a week. It sucks. Yeah. Those are my struggles. Oh, I posted my cats being cute as hell. Oh my god, they're so cute. Where was that? I think it's on TikTok. They were just like waking up next to me and it was fucking just adorable. So cute. Highly recommend. Very cute kitty. God, I love my cats. I wanted to snuggle them forever. That's all I really wanted to do today. But no, I have to edit. No. Oh. Okay, fine. I'll stop complaining. Go check out the kitties. They're very sweet. Very sweet and very good. Yeah. So, have a couple things planned on Elon being a fucking loser. Big fat loser. I have... Sorry. I choked with excitement. I have a old, not that old, it's like 5-month-old Ramdin about Elon. I'm curious, because, like, he's gotten so much worse since then, but I'm sure, you know, also not much has changed at the same time. And then a newer, well, the newest Ramdin as well about the TikTok adpocalypse. I'm really excited about the history pieces we're gonna get into later. I'm gonna, like, finish up with that. The Sphynx cat breeding history and also the history of daredevils. It's gonna be very good. I like need more like weird history channels like Strange Aeons and Casro. They're both so good. I want more like that. I don't like get shit like that on my algorithm anymore because I don't know. I sub to too many different types of creators, I think. I just kind of have to like find them organically. Kind of annoying. But yeah, I didn't have that much time to like sift through. Oh, hi, Tipster. Elon's Twitter, but he's posting dank memes like this. Drop the anti-injust defamation league. It's cleaner. Get it? Trying to win a slander lawsuit, by the way. Okay. Okay. Like, the ADL isn't great, but, like, they're right about the racism on Twitter. I don't think he's gonna win that. I just don't. Okay, so we got a little damage report on Elon. Maybe? Pausers?
Elon Musk is defending himself on Twitter, kind of out of nowhere. Now, these tweets come in different orders, but the main thing was him pointing out how he is not anti-Semitic. Keep that in mind as we go to this first thing that Elon Musk X'd out.
Sure.
posted, tweeted, who knows? He says, based on what we've learned, what we've heard from advertisers, ADL seems to be responsible for most of our revenue loss, giving them maximum benefit of the doubt.
How would you calculate that?
I don't see any scenario where they're responsible for less than 10% of value destruction.
Yeah.
So about $4 billion. Document discovery of all communications between the ADL and advertisers will tell the full story. Elon Musk is upset because their advertisers are down and he's blaming someone else. Of course, it's the Jewish folks. Still, he continued on. Advertisers avoid controversy. So all that's needed for ADL to crush our US and European ad revenue is to make unfounded accusations. They have much less power than in Asia.
Why would advertisers care about the accusations if they were unfounded? You know what I mean? Used to watch it daily. Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah. So our ad revenue there
besides their dog shit audio,
still strong. This controversy causes advertisers to pause, but that pause is permanent until ADL gives them the green light, which they will not do without us agreeing to secretly suspend or shadow ban any account they don't like. Which accounts are those? He continues, that is the relationship they've had with X and Twitter for many years. Presumably, they have that with all Western search or social media organizations. And this was the tweet that sparked this whole thing and made people go, what? He said, to clear our platform's name on the matter of anti-Semitism, it looks like we have no choice but to file a defamation lawsuit against the Anti-Defamation League. Oh, the irony. And lastly, to be super clear, I'm pro-free speech, but against anti-Semitism of any kind. Why do you have to clarify that? By the way, those all those accounts that he said they want them to shut down, and this reason why they're losing this ad revenue is because the ADL is telling them. But what are those accounts, bro? You're not being very clear about this whole thing. We'll get to some of those accounts in a second. But first, is this clear his name?
The follow-up tweet, I don't stand for anti-Semitism tweet, that had to have been like from his lawyer or something. You know, I don't believe him for a second.
Shoes, what do you think?
I think this makes them even more of an anti-Semite. You go after the Anti-Defamation League, whose job is to track and monitor racist, white national, Nazi sympathizing groups across the country who are doing nothing but spewing hate. There once was a time where Twitter, like a lot of other platforms, would not allow this kind of anti-Semitic, racist nonsense on their platform. And then Elon Musk came along and bought Twitter and opened the floodgates and said, oh no, everybody's welcome back. And of course, the Anti-Defamation League is not going to like that. Any human being would not like what Twitter has become. And so the ADL does its job. And just as they would do if it was NBC or Fox News or Newsmax or whatever else, if somebody's giving a...
Putting it lightly, he's full of shit. Yep, just a shitbag of a human. It's true. A complete douchebag. And like, the fact that he's trying to walk it all back now, like, you can't just blame the guys calling you out. It's so fucking, it's so like juvenile. Like, nuh-uh, no, it was you. You defamed me, actually. I never defamed anyone. I never allowed Nazis back to defame everybody. I'm really curious how this is going to go in court.
Platform to hate, to racism, to xenophobia, to Nazism. Of course, the ADL should I would want to contact the advertisers and say, don't give money to that platform. So that's what the ADL has done. But Elon Musk refuses to take responsibility for his own actions. He refuses to acknowledge that him opening the floodgates to these hate mongers is what has caused the advertisers to get skittish and nervous about Twitter. Instead, somehow it's the ADL's fault. That's a bunch of bunk.
Well, let's go to graphic 5 here. Is it?
I can hear you through the ads. Whoa, dude. That's so cool.
6, graphic 5 here, I think it is one, you guys. The analysis about the hate speech that's happening on Twitter, X, after Elon got a hold of it. If you look right there in the middle where that red line is, that's the point when Musk bought Twitter. And those sharp jumps is the average proportion of hate speech that goes along on that app as well. Now, and which of course he openly accepted and said, it's just free speech, bro. If you can't take it, go somewhere else. And then when the advertisers went someplace else, he goes, what are you guys doing? I thought I can have free speech and you guys can do whatever you say I want to do. Still more, a little bit more. Anti-Semitic content reported to Twitter by the ADL. This is where he do. Still went someplace else. He goes, what are you guys doing? I thought I can have free speech and you guys can do whatever you say I want to do. Still more. Or a little bit more. Anti-Semitic content reported to Twitter by the ADL. This is where he's upset. December of 2022, actioned about 18 to a 21.95% here, and it rose there of non-actioned things that went on Twitter. As you can see, the dark blue portions are what non-action things happened when it was reported to Twitter by the ADL of the things that were happening. So even in getting that proof, it was, they're just coming after us. A little bit more though, because I want to point out how these.
Yeah, I don't know, like, he has nothing to back up his claims that it's all false. Like, there's no data proving that there's no or little, like, Nazis. Like, fact check, reports. Where's the Twitter files on the Nazis?
These advertisers actually did, at least in these couple of cases, actually did find themselves detaching from Twitter. Because he alienated advertisers earlier. As you know, he was firing a whole bunch of people. It wasn't just tech guys. He also fired key sales executives. Elon Musk fired key sales executives. And then when they lose revenue with ad sales, he goes, who could have seen it coming? It's like firing your driver, and then when your car runs into the wall, you go, I don't know why this happened. Someone should have been behind the wheel. Still, he was spreading these conspiracy theories on the site, or allowing other folks to, and he also welcomed back a bunch of those Twitter users that were doing that as well. So in response to this, several large ad agencies and brands, including General Motors and Volkswagen, paused their ad spending on Twitter. And Musk said that Twitter was on track to post $3 billion in revenue in 2023, which was already down from the 5.1 from 2021 when it was a public company. So he was hoping for something. But he's still upset, and it's always someone else's fault. We know how conservatives think on those lines. But this is what the ADL told the Daily Beast about Musk's accusations. In a statement to the Daily Beast, a spokesperson for the ADL said it was unsurprised yet undeterred that anti-Semites, white supremacists, conspiracy theorists, and other trolls.
Yeah, this is nothing new to them.
Have launched a coordinated attack on our organization. The statement has continued, this type of thing is nothing new. This onslaught comes following our participation in the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington, where ADL proudly marched shoulder to shoulder with African-American leaders and those from other minority communities. Nothing says hate like marching for people's human rights. But again, we're in an upside down world.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day.
Such a disaster, dude. Like, he's such a whiny little baby. Why? Why does he care so much? Like, if your entire website's advertising can be tanked by a couple of alleged lies about the content on it, then probably not a very good website, you know? Advertisers probably didn't really want to be there in the first place. Oh, God.
Elon Musk. Who is he? Divine Redditor. His Doge hieroglyphics etched onto every Razer laptop. Republican America's adult Holden Caulfield. Snake oil salesman who loves drinking snake oil. Rodan's thinker forced to act, and all he can do is stream post-2016 Eminem. Wolf in sheep's clothing, but the sheep's clothing is just Asics and New Balance Fall 2016 collection. Steve Wozniak is to Steve Jobs what Elon Musk is to a hypothetical, cooler, more likable Elon Musk. Cable television's live-action answer to the insipid villainy of Big Weld from Robot. Monopoly Man if he was made by a venture capital firm in Ventura staffed exclusively by Virgin. Bourgeois answer to a single dad who struggles to understand his child's Monster Cat core future-based music. Ultimate divorced dad character build. He's just generally a lunatic. Right, love? Oh, I mean, that feels kind of unfair, right? Unfair how? Well, he's he overstates some things, but I don't know. I think generally he's... What? He's what? He's a bit of a visionary. Okay, wow. I'm not sure I'm following. Okay, I should not have brought this up. No. You absolutely should have brought this up. I did not know that we were not aligned on that. Okay, I didn't know either. He's not a bad guy to me. So I think we can move. Listen, I love you, but I disagree, okay? I think, well, at this point, he's practically an...
The other N-word.
Back to the video. Hi, welcome back to season 40 of Dancing with the Stars. I'm a disgraced criminal with a CIA-documented role in the Bosnian War, dancing to Lou Bega's Mambo number 5. If you subscribe to my channel right now, I'll finally put an end to this politics thing. I'll make one mega party called God's Steamroll, and we will legislate unknown horrors from beyond the cosmos. How are we all doing today? You know, I'm excited. I'm kicked into action. You know, I've already made one Elon Musk video, but that was more about how celebrity relationships are bizarre horror gauntlets, so why wouldn't I do one on how wealth accumulation is a bizarre horror gauntlet in itself? So Elon Musk is an entrepreneur, serial CEO of Tesla, SpaceX, Twitter, and The Boring Company, investor into everything that's ever happened, though it should be stated that he thinks that CEO is a made-up term, and he prefers Tesla Techno King, which should definitely help with alleviating the delusional technocrat PR nightmare.
Techno King? Thanks, I fucking hate it. Gross.
He's got going on, and also make him seem really funny. The guy's just got jokes. I'm telling you right now that if I went to the Comedy Store and Elon Musk was doing a...
Wait, I saw that tweet, it like resurfaced, of fucking Elon calling Grimes his cyber techno princess or something like that. I think I bookmarked it. It was so gross. I did not. I did not bookmark it. Oh, hey, Chase.
A tight 15, he would be covered in raw tomatoes. But as for the Tesla technocrat thing, why stop there, you know? Just declare yourself a dictator or an emperor. If every single Reddit Elon Musk stan formed their own sovereign nation, one, you would have explicit worries about the age of consent and reconstruction of the Sengoku period in Japan for aesthetics, and two, the population might probably be higher than any of the countries from which his companies acquire their conflict minerals. Elon Musk is one of the richest men in the world. In fact, he would still be the richest man in the world if he wasn't chemically addicted to fumbling the bag. He needed to go to a methadone clinic, but instead of methadone, he couldn't fumble the bag. He's addicted. He can't stop fucking fumbling the bag. It's insane. He has the same relationship with fumbling a bag that a 20-year-old with winged eyeliner at a house show has with ketamine. Every single time he thinks he's had enough, he has to get back in the hole. Elon Musk seems to think that a bag is an object that behaves more like a fushigi ball than an antique urn. So back when I made my first video about Elon Musk and Grimes, I had a few goals with that video. One was to sort of illustrate the types of people they were, the kind of money they have, the type of privilege, etc. And another was to illustrate that their goals and ideological slant are kind of bunk. And another to speak about the bizarre cyclical nature of celebrity gossip and relationships and whatnot, and how celebrities are turned into like public diaries that we sort of project our own beliefs into while sharing none of the risk at exploring our own emotions. But this video is separate. This is a video to convince whoever is watching that Elon's continuous actions towards his employees, the world, and his investors are borderline misanthropic and cruel, and that his status as a billionaire and a rolling stone which can gather no moss is one that is detrimental to human people. You know, like I said in the video title that you could already read, dumbass. You need me to explain that to you? It was in the title. You look crazy. You look so crazy. But enemy of the people is a strong phrase, so I feel the need to clarify.
Okay.
Elon Musk isn't making concerted, malevolent attacks on the populace any more than any other reactionary or any other billionaire accumulating massive amounts of wealth. The rhetorical goal of calling him that is one, meant to be a bit of an eye-catcher, one, and two, a result of the cult of personality that Elon Musk has come pre-packaged with as a billionaire. See, due to Musk's status as a tech innovator and a real-life Iron Man for years on the internet, a lot of people view him as a sort of irrevocable genius whose temerity is indicative of real-life intelligence. I'm sure a lot of us remember when people would cite the clip of him saying there's a 1 in 6 gajillion chance that we don't live in a simulation as a real source, and this is kind of demonstrable. Vox's analysis of perceptions of billionaire during the pandemic said that Elon Musk is the most popular of the tech billionaires polled, with 50% saying they had a favorable opinion on the Tesla founder, currently the world's second richest person. Musk is a...
Seriously? What? Who did you poll? Who did you poll? That can't be true. I don't know.
Bipartisan figure, 52% of Democrats have a favorable opinion versus 22% unfavorable, and 48% of Republicans hold a favorable opinion.
Wait, what? 52% of Democrats have a favorable opinion of Musk? What? What?
Versus 25% unfavorable. Musk is especially popular with men. A staggering 66% of men view him favorably versus 21% unfavorably. According to 538 per Quinnipiac, among US adults, Republicans, 63%, and white men, 51%, were the most likely to view Musk favorably. Democrats, 9%,
Shocking.
Black respondents, 17%, and women...
Wait. Wait, did she not just say Democrats? Did I misunderstand that? Was it unfavorable? Hold on. We're rolling it back. 52% of Democrats have a favorable opinion. Which is it?
The most likely to view Musk favorably. Democrats, 9%, Black respondents, 17%, and women, 25%, were the demographic groups least likely to harbor positive opinions towards Musk. So this tells us a lot of things, the most important being that white conservative men seem to be far more likely to view Elon Musk favorably compared to more marginalized demographics. Side note, according to articles about the demographics of Reddit, the majority of Reddit users are white, 70% male, around 2/3, and young, 18 to 29 years old. So there is a statistical reality to the idea that Reddit is the ultimate Elon Musk dick riding site, which is very funny.
When is the study from? I don't know, but this video is from 5 months ago. So his rep didn't tank until relatively recently. Yeah, I guess that's true.
To me, but these polls are at least a few years old each and probably have changed a lot due to Elon's
Okay, yeah.
mismanagement of Twitter, amongst other ridiculous things he's been saying, but they do illustrate that Elon historically has done a solid job at accruing acolytes who respect him. So the point of calling him an enemy of the people is, one, to sort of push back on people who call him a super genius business whiz, and also to bring attention to the bad things he's done. So now that we are done with that explanation, let's get on to the recent history of Elon Musk.
Okay, the Willow Project. That's proof. That's proof that traditional democratic action can work, right?
Are you serious? I don't think we
Yes, I'm serious. People sent thousands of letters.
It went through anyways, okay? The will of the people.
Can work.
It's just nothing. It's not comparable to the will of corporate interests.
Oh, that's not the point.
Well, what's the point then? It was everywhere for so long, and it just doesn't work. That stuff just doesn't work anymore.
Okay, sometimes.
Most of the time.
Sometimes. Okay, I think it can still work if you just collective, nonviolent political organization.
I mean, if you want me to be honest, it really depends on what you want to change. You can't change everything. Never mind, I don't want to.
What?
I don't want to make you mad. I just want to enjoy this time.
Well, I don't want you to not bring up something.
Yeah, I know. So can we just drop it for now?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Well, yeah, okay, what pisses me off the most...
So let's really quick explain how wealth accumulation works. I hate having to explain 4-year-old concepts to adults, but WEF propaganda goes crazy. Everybody thinks capitalism is so suckable and fuckable and fertile.
Hey, yo.
The difference between a capitalist and a communist? Well, a capitalist reads Smith and Sowell, and a communist reads Smith and Sowell and lays out a systemic critique of the contradictions present in capitalist society. And then the communist gets on Twitter and argues with other communists about how their version of the systemic critique would be better for hypothetical poor people in the global south. This whole time, the capitalist is making a gig economy startup they call DoorDash for food stamps, and renting out their basement as an Airbnb that requests you do comprehensive mold removal underneath the stairs before finishing your one
one-night stay. Cut back to the communists. He's sort of flirting with a more niche ideology that he thinks will help him. You know, he's past anarcho-communism and council communism, even MLM. You know, right now they're just thinking, what could I do to make me so much less pleasant to talk to? Really just the type of person you leave the Starbucks altogether to avoid. So usually it just leads them to saying a bunch of buzzwords back to back, like anti-Oedipus, and then like Lacanian and materialism, and then schizoanalysis. And then they send you a 600-page PDF, and then they get accused of being creepy in someone else's DM, so they abandon their Twitter account and make a new one under a different name, rinse and repeat until they decide to finally leave the left because of blunt force trauma that they experienced in a car accident. Turns out the whole time they were racist. They left the alt-right 3 weeks before they became a rehabilitated communist and had an ongoing plan to become a Twitch debate streamer. During this time, the capitalist was openly racist to shareholders in Stampwatch and employed a neurotic service worker who Stampwatched for 48 hours straight and then killed some random sex pet.
Not the Twitch poll reference. Stop it. Stop it. God, I'm dying. Hi, Peanuts. Welcome in.
As communist and a hit and run. So that's kind of that's capitalism and communism. But back to Elon Musk, wealth accumulation is a funny thing because at a point you're not making money for labor, you're making money for controlling the labor of others and extracting the profit they make for you and keeping it for yourself. Watch Mojo presents Top 10 Shallowest Critiques of Capitalism moment. I know. I know. Did you know that somebody said this in a book 600,000 years ago? I know. Debunk the ECP. No. So really the reason a capitalist like Elon Musk, an enterprising innovator and business owner, is able to make so much money, accrue so many resources, is because his employees are doing the work for him and he's getting the money for it. Elon Musk is now here
Oh, pet your dog for me. Oh, that's so cute.
making Teslas by hand, right? He would shatter a hip bone and then light a lithium battery on fire, and then hearing fire would remind him to fire 6 more remote Twitter developers that are undergoing chemotherapy, and then the car would ship and the panels would look like a fucking Mondrian piece and the screens would only play dubbed Attack on Titan. But this dynamic between a boss who extracts profits and a worker who has profits extracted innately creates a tension between the person who makes money if someone under them does their good job and the person who gets no more if they do good and gets fired if they do poorly. Especially in recent times in the United States workplace where it feels like it's harder to move up from an entry-level position and that nepotism and generational wealth rigs the game before it's even started. I mean,
Harder. It's damn near impossible to go beyond an entry-level position in, like, most places. Like, it's so hard.
Actually, replace feels like with, that just is what happens. That's the reality of the situation. Nepotism, generational wealth, not being able to be mobile in your workplace, these are all problems that are plaguing the United States right now. But if you need further context for this, consider if you've had a boss or a manager you hated, and then imagine that there are 50 people above them making increasingly more off of the people under them for a comparable or smaller amount of work. And then you can try to forget that for the rest of your life, but you can't, because it's impossible. Because it's hell. It's a nightmare. We live in Mephistopheles' palace. And I should clarify, I'm not making like a personal argument. I don't feel slighted or like I deserved more or something, although I feel that everybody deserves more. I grew up upper middle class. I didn't have to struggle. I barely had to work outside of school. It was optional. I lucked into doing YouTube full-time at 19, but was it really luck, or was it the fact that I had access to editing software and cameras from a younger age than most people, that I was in a well-funded school district, that both of my parents were college educated so that they could afford to live in a neighborhood that had access to these schools, that they saved money for college that would go towards housing if I was in college, and all of that combined, that means that I had a higher likelihood of getting a job like this in the first place, even though this job seems pretty democratized. But a side note is that I dropped out. I do not get money from my parents. I don't have access to my college fund, nor can I unless I am in college. This is my job. This is how I pay for rent and necessities. I share insurance with my parents, and I'm on the same phone plan. That's it. And they keep on asking me to get rid of the phone plan and get my own. And I will, because you guys don't even get unlimited data. Broke boys. So there are tensions, antagonisms on class lines, and valid ones that exist because some people have more than other people for no reason. I don't deserve to be comfortable any more than the average homeless person deserves to be uncomfortable. People are people and should be treated as such. And for the same reason that I think every human person deserves to be angry at Elon Musk for his insane wealth, privilege, and resources, I think it's totally fine for somebody to be upset with me or resent me for not having to struggle, for having shit handed to me because I grew up upper middle class. According to PewResearch.org's study on American perceptions of socialism and capitalism, there are sizable demographic differences in views of these terms, especially capitalism. Opinions of both terms differ widely by age. While younger adults are more likely than older adults to say they have positive impressions of socialism, the opposite is true for capitalism. Just 40% of those ages 18 to 29 view capitalism positively. That is the lowest share in any age group, and 33 percentage points lower than the share of those 65 and older. Adults younger than 50 are also more likely than those 50 and older to have a positive impression of socialism, 41% versus 30%. So younger people are a little bit more excited about socialism, but what this means is kind of hard to know because the study is at the disadvantage of having to rely on people's...
By the way, I just have to point out her shirt is so fucking cool. It's little socialist roses. It's so cute.
Individual understandings of socialism, and also the fact that socialism is a bit of a nebulous term, even amongst people on the left. Marx seemingly had this idea of socialism being a term for an earlier stage of communism, and people who adhere to the teachings of Marx and Lenin might see socialism as a necessary prerequisite to communism. They cannot be divorced because they are one and the same. But recently, in a more popular political terminology, socialism has been seen as its own end state. But socialism by a bit of a looser definition, one made up of certain legislations and guarantees to the people by the state. Socialism, social democracy, and democratic socialism kind of fold in on each other here in a connotative sense. Some people even call the Nordic model, a decidedly capitalist model, socialist. I mean, according to Nordic.info, the system is made up of a lot of things, but most importantly perhaps is the combination of capitalist economies with relatively high levels of taxation and universal welfare benefits, including healthcare. The political culture is one of multi-party parliamentary democracy dominated by strong social democratic parties and consensus. So that is seen as far left in America, a decidedly capitalist economy with some governmental support of the people. So politically, what do these young people believe in these studies? It's not too obvious, but if one has positive views on socialism, we can bet that they are in favor of higher taxes, generally more progressive legislation, democracy, and probably not in favor of opulent wealth accumulation, something that is not great for billionaires who very often will do everything in their rhetorical power to naysay socialism, social democracy, democratic socialism, whatever you care to call it in this context, and speak to its detriment. But if speaking down on socialism is the easiest way to degrade it, then redefining it to your advantage is
everything in their rhetorical power? I mean, they also have, like, very real power. It's not just, like, what they say, their rhetoric. It's also, like, the social capital they have. The fact that they can hire lawyers on a whim to sue the ADL, for example.
is a slightly more difficult, albeit possibly more effective way to swing things in your favor. Elon Musk, after a heavy-handed appraisal of socialist ideology, tweeted, "By the way, I am actually a socialist, just not the kind that
Ain't no fucking way.
shifts resources from most productive to least productive, pretending to do good while actually causing harm. True socialism seeks greatest good for all."
So you shouldn't have any money then.
A tweet like this serves a few things. First and foremost, being misleading and confusing so that less politically literate people with generally good intentions get kind of thrown off. But second is to just kind of boost Elon's status as a polemicist and an iconoclast. Later on, Elon Musk even tweeted that Karl Marx was a capitalist and said he even wrote a book about it. So Elon is fully talking out of his ass here on something he seems to know nothing about, right? And understands very little. And if I ever respected Elon, even back in 2018, this would have tipped the scales against him because he's directly misleading people and poisoning the well. Discourse around this tweet is impossible because it's completely politically illiterate. So Elon isn't a socialist. He's an incredibly wealthy capitalist, obviously, who extracts profits from laborers and in doing so effectively upholds nightmarish slave labor conditions in overexploited countries. He is not pro-worker in this sense, and in that sense he isn't even pro-people. If you're for the development of mankind and the good of all, you can't really do what Elon does. You can't passively admit to knowledge of a Bolivian coup because then you're not in favor of the good of all, you're in favor of the advancement of a narrow set of values you believe are worthwhile at the explicit detriment of people, millions of them in fact. His appraisal of true socialism is also bunk.
Oh yeah, and also the there was just recently reports that Starlink, it just blacked out during a Ukrainian counteroffense that just like got fucked up. Like, of course Elon is denying it, but I think we all know what's going on there.
Greatest good for all is an apolitical gibberish phrase. Might as well say cool vibes, lit kickback, bring White Claws. Elon Musk's political party is less of a gala and more of a bunch of teenagers that shoplifted individual Bud Light limes and off-brand hard seltzers, something called like LaGroy or Spin Tag, gathering underneath an active construction site in a rainstorm. Additionally, one last thing on this tweet, Das Kapital is not a book on how Marx is a capitalist. It is a 3-volume long, historically significant, comprehensive critique of the capitalist system as Marx saw it in his lifetime as it was developing. How you could extract that Marx is capitalist from that is just mind-boggling to me, and I think, to me, that proves that Elon Musk is literally just saying shit. He's literally just throwing stuff at the wall to poison the well of discourse, and that's super.
I think he may know. He probably does know. But also, like, sees the value in obfuscating the term, like, diluting its meaning.
Super not respectable to me. So if you love Elon Musk a lot and you think he's brilliant, then you have to grapple with the existence of not only these tweets, but a bunch of other ones, right? Everything he says in
Some of you loser peepos have actually read Marx and have actual beliefs. Nerds.
These tweets is categorically incorrect, politically illiterate, and flat out pretty dumb. So you have to decide, is he just massively dumb in this department? Knowledge of hugely significant foundational politics and economics, right? Is the businessman completely ignorant and does he know nothing about this? Or is he malevolently lying and poisoning the well to make productive discourse harder? You would probably say he's trolling, which is awesome. I love that. The biggest thing I want from one of the most powerful rich men in the world who has unlimited power is a completely incoherent worldview that's constantly being pushed up against his awful, boring sense of humor, where he says illogical things all the time. I love that, and I'm so glad we could have this conversation, but I'm going to leave the Discord server now because I thought we were going to play more counter.
That makes me want to cry. I don't know whether to laugh or cry. Oh my god, bro.
Strike that we have been playing, and you're all hard stuck silver. So we've established a few things now. Elon Musk is a capitalist who accumulates wealth through his employees and underlings. He is either politically illiterate or intentionally cruelly obtuse, and that through doing some of these things, he is able to have this status as a space-age genius to a contingency of uncritical acolytes when it's his engineers and workers doing the stuff for him, and that young people these days are more likely to dislike him for his status as an ultra-wealthy person. So with all of this in mind, let's get into how he runs his businesses, foundations, and what exactly he does with all of that money.
Okay, he's got SpaceX, he's founded Tesla.
Oh, come on, he did not found Tesla.
That's okay, whatever, sure. My point is, these are concrete things in the fight against climate change.
How is SpaceX a concrete step to fighting climate change?
Look, okay, at this point, it is equally important to look for ways
Hey Joey, what's up?
out as it is to look for things that
First of all,
improve
ways
things.
out for rich people. Do you think a poor person can afford a trip to Mars? And second of all, cars. He builds cars. It's a car company. That is hardly anti-climate
electric
change.
cars. He publishes bullet train docs. He's working on tunnels.
Okay, still cars. Still cars. The other thing is the worst replacement for subways ever.
It's the worst. It's the worst. Hey, what if we made trains, but it was just cars? That's literally his idea.
Have you seen the Hyperloop? He built a tunnel for other Teslas to ride through. That would be a net negative for all of society to implement. He's the worst. He's a con man. He doesn't care about you.
You know what? You sound really insecure.
Oh my god. I don't want his life. He seems miserable. He's a loser.
Oh, he's a loser, right? He's one of the richest men. He owns some of the biggest businesses. He uses his power for good.
Oh, for good.
He uses his power for good. He's like a real... Never mind.
No, go ahead, say it.
He's a real-life Iron Man.
Real-life Iron Man.
Yeah, I'm really love this format in general, but I think it works especially well for her because I just imagine this is like how it is like in her head while she's writing. Like, this is very good.
Yeah, are you a child?
Oh, you're having a rough night? I'm sorry. I hope it gets better.
Are you 4 fucking years old? Because
Something that's really interesting to think about for me is how something like the narrative of real-life Iron Man kind of is able to benefit from this blurring of lines between reality and pop culture. Because if we look at some of the biggest superhero franchises of the past 2 decades, like Iron Man franchise, Avengers franchise, the Dark Knight franchise. You know, these series all have prominent protagonists who are massively wealthy, insanely wealthy, yet still have a heart of gold and manage to do the right thing and save all the people in the end. Whether you look at the end of, well, spoiler alert, whether you look at the end of The Dark Knight Rises where he flies off with the bomb, or you look at the end of, you know, Avengers Endgame where Tony takes the gauntlet and sacrifices himself for the greater good of all humanity. It's interesting for me to think about how the mythology of a billionaire like Elon Musk can actually be tethered to a pop culture counterpart like Tony Stark, because, you know, the Marvel movies do have their ideological biases. They do have things that they might try to show more, especially during the first leg. I believe that there is some criticism of Iron Man's, you know, innovation and entrepreneurial efforts in the later movies. But so far as the first leg was concerned, you know, he was just this pretty successful, wealthy, you know, philanthropic billionaire. He made the whole Stark Tower energy friendly. He was discovering new elements, just inventing things all the time. And when you look at somebody like Elon Musk, you know, he's very much able to profit from and, you know, grow based off of that perception of him, that he's like this superhero, that he is like, you know, somebody who is larger than life, who will sacrifice himself for the greater good of all humanity. And I think it's interesting because, to me, it's not true. I don't think that Elon Musk is really like that at all. But he's still...
No, not at all. And I don't understand why he has so many fans. So many fanboys. Why do so many men love him? They worship him. The man calls himself a techno king, and they're just like, yes, I am your little peasant. Please, can I lick your boot?
Tacitly accepts this comparison. You know, he still is allowing himself to be called Tesla Techno King, because in a sense, if he aligns himself with enough, you know, honorable pursuits, then anything else he does, you know, does it really matter? And it does, absolutely. You know, recently, in only the last few days, Elon Musk responded to a thread of somebody saying that, like, oh, a bunch of recent shooters, like 5 recent shooters in mass shootings were trans. And Elon Musk responded with an exclamation mark, basically being like, oh, this is a smoking gun for trans ideology. And it's really not, because, I don't know, is all school shooters being white male a smoking gun for white male ideology? Well, yeah, because a majority of them actually are.
I mean, yeah. Yep.
Majority of shooters are not trans. This is a very small section, an outlier of sorts. I don't know. It's frustrating because, you know, as we see Elon Musk develop into this reactionary right-wing figure who is, you know, citing transphobia, citing bigotry, just hateful stuff, I'm reminded of how much he was able to come up on these pop culture comparisons, that he was a gallant and brave and inventive soul. And just now what he is, which is the worst. I thought that might be interesting to talk about, and I thought that maybe you would like to hear that. So back to the video.
So let's cut to the chase. Elon runs his companies pretty poorly. And let's start with Neuralink. So Neuralink is a company that Elon Musk founded with Max Ho.
The worst. Starting with the worst. Great. Buckle in.
That, according to them, is developing ultra-high bandwidth brain-machine interfaces to connect humans and computers. So brain microchips. It's developing brain chips to theoretically help blind people or people who are paralyzed see or walk. Cool in concept, right? If we can do that, that would be cool. First things first, I would not get a brain chip implanted in my head from this guy.
It would be dope if the end goal wasn't for Elon to hook up to the internet and be as powerful as an AI. That's literally his stated explicit purpose for this project.
Personally, you know, he's kind of like the contemporary Challenger, the guys who built the Challenger rocket in terms of product quality assurance. But brain implants, stuff like that, people hit the brakes really fast because of like sci-fi implications like mind control. I think they could be all right. I don't want to get into like transhumanist discourse because of course, I mean, I'm a detached consciousness of a Daria character that was uploaded into the body of a gay H&R Block employee. I have a Metro PCS salesman build, so I can't speak on that. I'm basically an NPC already. But Neuralink has come under fire recently for animal testing, specifically killing over 1,500 animals since 2018 in testing, to the point that employee whistleblowers came forward saying, holy fucking shit, Elon Musk does not understand the pacing at which tests like these are supposed to advance, and he is pressuring us to work faster, and we are killing animals because of this. Animals are going insane, self-mutilating. One rhesus monkey's state was so...
Yeah. A quote from an employee was that Elon said we should act like we have a bomb strapped to our head so that we work faster.
Severe that, I quote, the animal vomited and had open sores in her esophagus before she was finally killed. So to be clear, broadly, animals die in animal testing all the time, or are killed after testing to be examined and probed and whatnot. That is a whole other debate as to whether or not that's ethical. But the specific thing here, right, is that even if you think that's ethical, Elon's practices, his business practices, management strategies, are directly pushing employees into a corner where the speed that they are working at is killing animals unnecessarily and cruelly, which is so fucked up. Animal cruelty. Elon Musk is seemingly guilty of animal cruelty. If you want to recontextualize this, imagine if he was doing dog fights at Twitter HQ, just getting a stencil and spray painting the logo on one of the dogs and the Lucid Motors logo on the other one, and just being like, yeah, show him who's boss.
Stop.
I think you could be upset about that, so I'm upset about this person. Elon just has a problem with managing the truth as well. There's this ongoing narrative he has pushed year after year that next year, self-driving cars will be ready, and they will be the standard and perfect and ready to go, and they'll be able to drive from point A to point B flawlessly in the future. And then next year rolls along, and he's like, I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. Me and my team, we worked really hard on it, but we are going, but next year we're gonna go to Mars with the cars, and we're gonna launch the car. It's gonna go to Mars. Meanwhile, in February, Tesla recalled 363,000 vehicles with self-driving systems because they just didn't fucking know how to do intersections or follow the speed limit. 363,000 cars with a self-driving system that were not capable of the simplest possible rule following. It's good to mention that there is a cult of self-driving car fans that kind of see self-driving cars as the future. That if we get every car on the road, self-driving technology, that there won't be collisions, everything will run smoother, no traffic, etc. And I just need to say that that's stupid. That's stupid. You're not living in a reality where things need to work. You could just, with public transportation, buses, trains, bike lanes, we could transport more people more efficiently. People wouldn't need to own cars. We could have less roads, pedestrians would be safer. This idea that self-driving cars are the only solution to getting around, and electric cars too, although we should have electric cars over gas vehicles. But just that idea is just, wow, really great thinking, man. Yeah, just drive itself, man. Oh, yeah, man, really great thinking. I will give it to electric vehicles. They are a lot less likely to catch fire than gas vehicles, which are worse in that department and worse overall, I would say. But when they catch fire, they are way harder to put out, okay? One recent Tesla fire took 6,600 gallons of water to extinguish, and they burn at a way higher temperature. So they're very dangerous. And there are also ongoing problems with software in Teslas. Some people have gotten locked inside of their home theater mode. In 2019, a guy died because the Tesla doors auto-locked when the vehicle caught on fire. And there's a manual release, but yeah, the car trapped him when it caught on fire because of the Tesla design philosophy. You know, it's minimalist, the handles are minimal, everything is electronic and high-tech. And that philosophy, that design...
Dude, that's fucking hell. That's just the worst way. The worst way to go. Just locked inside your Tesla. Yikes, dude.
Has its drawbacks, especially in regards to very intense things like if your passenger needs to get out of a burning car, they need to be able to pull the handle. So to me, this technology is way more niche and unnecessary and over-engineered than the business side of Elon would ever really care to admit. Tesla vehicles running its autopilot software have been involved in 273 reported crashes over roughly the past year, according to regulators far more than previously known and providing concrete evidence regarding the real-world performance of its futuristic features. The numbers, which were published by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration for the first time Wednesday, show that Tesla vehicles made up nearly 70% of the 392 crashes involving advanced driver assistance systems reported since last July, and a majority of the fatalities and serious injuries, some of which date back further than a year, 8 of the Tesla crashes took place before June 2021, according to data released by NHTSA on Wednesday morning. Previously, NHTSA said it had probed 42 crashes potentially involving driver assistance, 35 of which included Tesla vehicles, in a more limited data set that stretched back to 2016. Elon, with Tesla and self-driving and these high-tech aesthetics, is solving problems that either don't really exist or could be solved better elsewhere. If you look at the Hyperloop, another one of his constructions, it is quite literally just a worse subway. I don't get it, honestly. It is just wealth accumulation and aesthetics over the practical solutions to people needing to get around where they live. It's bizarre. It's almost like him saying that he wanted to put resources where they...
Oh my god, I forgot about this. Good point, good point. This is insane. Elon Musk blames elite LA school for brainwashing communist trans daughter into hating him for being rich. Wait, what I read is that he bought Twitter because he thought it, like, made her trans. Is that not right? Go his daughter. Became a fervent Marxist and broke off relations. Yeah, good for her. Good for her. I don't know, because this is the New York Post, so I don't know how much I trust this. Leaves his communist transgender daughter severed ties with her billionaire father because she was brainwashed into thinking that anyone rich is evil at the ritzy California school he sent her to. Backfired. The CEO of X, formerly known as Twitter, washed his hands of any responsibility of the rift between him and his 19-year-old, between himself and 19-year-old Vivian Jenna Wilson. Instead of blaming Crossroads School for art and sciences in Santa Monica for infecting her with the woke mind virus. Oh my god. As part of his mission to stamp out wokeness. Oh, so it is kind of. It's both. Prep service coverage when I searched, yeah. Fair. Yeah, so it's like it's all connected. His brain broke when his daughter came out, and because he couldn't shut down the school, probably, is trying to, like, kill wokeness on the internet. Unbelievable. What a fucking loser, dude. He just doesn't want to spend time with me. Well, I wonder why. You hateful piece of shit. Costs $50,000 per student annually. Sheesh. Dragon. What? Though the statements were not the first time Musk blamed higher learning institutions for the rift between himself and his daughter, it is the first time he pointed to a specific school. Neo-Marxists have taken over elite schools and liberal universities to teach their students to despise wealthy individuals. Yeah, there's a conspiracy against you specifically. Oh my god. What a loser.
They are the most productive rather than the least productive, and how he's a real socialist isn't true at all. It's almost like he was just lying about that. Back in 2021, Tesla was served a sexual harassment lawsuit, and I just want to read from this article. The lawsuit describes rampant sexual harassment at Tesla, alleging nightmarish conditions and a factory floor that more resembles a crude, archaic construction site or frat house than a cutting-edge company in the heart of the progressive San Francisco Bay Area. Barraza filed complaints to Tesla HR in September and October detailing her experience in the factory. The complaints were viewed by the Post. She says the company did not address the harassment. It was unclear if Tesla acknowledged the claims internally. Barraza said this workplace culture is bred at the top of the company, citing a joking tweet by CEO Elon Musk referencing a university he planned to start, Texas Institute of Technology and Science. He left readers to interpret the acronym.
Come on.
That doesn't set a good example for the factory. It almost gives it like he's tweeting about...
He's a child. He's a 12-year-old with billions of dollars.
It has to be okay, she said. It's not fair to myself, to my family, to other women who are working there. Elon Musk also had this terrible habit through 2020 and 2021 of casting doubt on vaccines and COVID wariness. It was just super embarrassing, super misleading, and anti-science. And then he reopened a Tesla workplace during the pandemic against county regulations. And, an email was sent out saying, hey, if you're an employee, you can stay home if you are uncomfortable coming to work. But at the end of the day, 2 employees who stayed home were terminated. You know, they were fired during the pandemic while they weren't even supposed to be going to work. It's just this incessant pattern of Elon Musk being an immature, anti-science, ineffective leader, you know, cultivating this terrible public persona, and then also stepping on all of his employees, making them pawns in his ideological game, whether it be that self-driving is the only future or COVID is being blown out of proportion. It's just wildly unprofessional and fucking disgusting. And in addition to all of that, you know, he finally comes out last year saying that he's going to vote Republican because he wants to defeat wokeism, tweeting about trans women in sports, and his trans daughter literally changed her name because she hates him and doesn't want to be associated with him at all. He is just on Twitter tweeting, "My pronouns are prosecute/Fauci." He's a fucking public embarrassment, man, and a loser personally.
Truly.
As well. Like,
He just needs to go to therapy.
his businesses are wrought with, you know, redundancy and controversies because he just thinks he's right. He will just push forward on anything, no matter what, if he believes it to be true. And that brings us to Twitter, which is a whole different shit show. Elon Musk's acquisition of Twitter was a mess in the first place, and now that he owns it, he has just been running it into the fucking ground. He will hold spaces where he talks to developers at Twitter who tell him that he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's fired an insane amount of the staff. He publicly lambasted an employee who was fired, unceremoniously saying, "Oh, he didn't do work, and he probably wasn't even that disabled." And he launched a poll saying, "Should I remain the CEO of Twitter? I'll adhere to the results and step down if I need to." And the result was a resounding no. And he's still the CEO of Twitter. He's still the CEO of Twitter. Why didn't it work? I wonder. I'm having trouble composing myself because he has effectively, over the last few years, just turned into a total scumbag, and he acts like a fucking 7-year-old. The amount of disgusting, immature, probably borderline illegal shit he said about his company and his employees is insane. He also does not understand how advertising works. He recommended they use like algorithmic ad recommendations, and someone had to explain, hey, advertisers actually pay to advertise to specific people. You can't do that. He monetized verification, and then he made verification obsolete by making a specific different verified sign for affiliates of larger brands. And also you can just click their profile and it'll say if they're actually verified or if they're just paying monthly for it. But also, no, that's not how it works, because now the blue check marks, you just go to their account and it just kind of says, oh, well, they might be paying and they might not be paying. And so now people who have the blue check mark because they're notable, they have to come out and they have to tweet, hey, I'm not paying for this shitty service. This guy sucks. I'm not paying for it. Why would you introduce this in the first place, man? He also has locked a essential security feature behind a paywall, 2-factor authentication, certain
I think this is still locked behind a paywall, right?
aspects of it. It's a standard in any sort of system where you need to log into an account. You log in and you confirm on a different email or phone number that it's trying to log you in. And Elon Musk said, no, you need to pay. You need to pay for aspects of this essential security feature. It's now locked behind a paywall. And millions of Twitter accounts are going to become probably more vulnerable because Twitter is losing money because he's not good at running it. So I don't know. It's really embarrassing. It's really embarrassing. And I mean, I could go into way more in this part. You know, I could talk about, you know, he had sexual harassment allegations. You know, just beat by beat, I could go through his whole Twitter. Actually, you know what? That's a great idea. I'm going to go through his whole Twitter.
Can I just say there's something weird about this new Elon Musk era where it's like, it's you know, he's a technological evangelical or whatever, right? He's constantly preaching about this stuff that can't really happen. But at the same time, he's a reactionary. So he's like really focused on this technological forward progress. And he's really focused on ideologically, like socially, don't move forward at all. Don't move forward at all.
Yeah. It is interesting. It is a weird dichotomy. He thinks he's like some sort of enlightened centrist, I guess.
Everything is liberal nonsense. Pronouns are stupid. Trans people aren't real. And this is a common ideology nowadays. You know, this idea that like, oh, science can move us forward everywhere, but I'm going to ignore these parts of science that I don't like because I have an inherently contradictory ideology or worldview. And it drives me up a wall. You know, I mean, it's kind of the conservative, you know, fulcrum point to revolve around. This idea of like, well, I know how to propel us forward in the world in every single way except for socially. Socially, we're perfect. We need to stay put. And I hate it. And I hate it. And I think it's stupid. And probably has something to do with proto-fascistic Christian nationalism. I don't know any of the words I'm saying. I've never even read anything before. I've literally never read it before. I'm not even reading the script. I'm just making up the words. And I don't even know what the words mean. I just know how they sound phonetically.
No, oh, my YouTube channel, oh, I'm going to hell. I'm going to hell. I'm just gonna pull up his Twitter now, and we're just kind of gonna see what the vibe is with Elon Musk. I can only imagine that he's gonna look pretty great. 133.6 million followers. I blocked him because of how he kept on DMing me. No, yeah, he sucks. So, I mean, first things first that we see, they voluntarily did exactly what I wanted them to do. So it's a pinned tweet of Taylor Swift in an Italian chef, like MS Paint outfit, kissing her finger, which is, one of the least funny things I've ever seen in my life. Hold on, this is just him responding to how his broken system made it so that the New York Times, one of the biggest journalistic publications in the world, is not verified and random people are. He's like, oh yes, they're falling right into my trap. Your trap of making an unusable website? We got Seize the Memes of Production, which is great. You know, wow. I mean, really just like something that you would see in 2013, posted by an 8th grader on iFunny. That's the type of thing we're at. Is a new platform needed? Just buy Twitter and change the bird logo to a Doge. Haha, that would be sick. And then he changed it to a Doge. Are we living in 2011? That's my question. Did Elon Musk, did he do like a curse? He never ages. It's a Dorian Gray situation, but instead of a portrait, it's just the entire website of Twitter. It just slowly shrivels and dies while he stays the same age. He stays at a ripe 4 years old. Posting Imgur memes. Oh, and then he has a made with me-matic meme of the Doge logo saying, oh, that's an old photo for the Twitter logo. Dude, give me a second here. Elon Musk net worth. Let's check right now. $202.4 billion. This is the type of clout that $202.4 billion gets you. Gets you 400,000 likes on a meme-matic template. They should really get rid of that 100 IQ maximum limit for creating an account on Instagram.
Jesus Christ. He's so fucking cringe.
That was really good, man. The real tragedy of New York Times is that their propaganda isn't even interesting. Also, their feed on Twitter is the Twitter equivalent of diarrhea. It's unreadable. They would have far more real followers if they only posted their top articles. Same applies to all publications. This top 10 times Elon Musk doesn't understand what journalism is. Top 10 times Elon Musk just has never even heard of journalism. He's trying to give business advice to a journalistic entity. And his advice is, what if you didn't post all of your articles and you only posted the ones people wanted to read? Like going to BuzzFeed and saying, like, what if you didn't post 1 million articles a day and you just posted the best one? That's not how it works. New York Times publishes articles on Twitter as they're coming out.
If only we would hurry up and implode into oblivion, honestly. I think it's time for him to take a space trip. Go on a little space trip. Go see Mars. Get some perspective.
That's how journalism works. You need to keep people up to date with the news, with what's being written. Same applies to all publications. It doesn't! The same doesn't! You don't know!
It's not. It's literally not how anything works.
My fault. My fault. I got a little bit angry there. Because he's really stupid. Me after one day of not eating sugar. 500,000 likes. Where is he pulling these people from? I could imagine somebody's father somewhere in Nebraska opening Twitter for the first time and seeing this and being
bots.
like,
I think it's mostly bots.
Well, he seems like he has the heart of a young buck. Otherwise, nothing else. We live in the most interesting of times. That's an A to Z quotes, black and white photo of Elon Musk. That's not a tweet. That's just you saying anything. I really do try to hate on Neil deGrasse Tyson's Twitter because it's so annoying and so boring. Elon Musk rivals it, At least Neil deGrasse Tyson is teaching me interesting things about like Saturn's rings. Elon Musk is just saying some shit like, oh, I woke up today and there was the sunrise was nice. I don't care, man. I don't care. So I'm reading right now because some viral tweets surfaced and one of them said, hey, Elon Musk has sabotaged trains and public transportation in the public sphere outside of just recommending car-centric solutions. Because in my opinion, stuff like the boring tunnels Tesla thing, that is basically sabotaging public transportation. You're replacing a subway or a train with Tesla cars. That sucks. But according to this person, Paris Marx, who runs a sort of tech critical podcast and wrote a book, did many interviews,
He says that Musk admitted to his biographer, Ashley Vance, that Hyperloop was all about trying to get legislators to cancel plans for high-speed rail in California, even though he had no plans to build it. And then he also references Musk's, he called public transit a pain in the ass where you were surrounded by strangers and possible serial killers. At the end of the day, this is not strictly verifiable. You can't go to Elon Musk and say, hey, did you do this, man? He would never give you a straight answer because he is a little salamander who lives in a bog somewhere, and you tap on his cave, and then he slides out, and you say, Elon, did you do this thing? And he says, no, I would never do that thing. And then he goes into his cave and he does exactly that thing. A lot of these people aren't on the side of human people. They don't want to see life get better. And Elon's comments on public transit, saying that you're next to strangers and serial killers, it's very thinly veiled, but it's classist, and it's clearly, it's basically saying, poor people are way better off.
Yeah, just like perpetuating the same old lies about fucking public transport. God, I just wish he would shut the fuck up. Why is he just so hungry for attention, dude?
Getting in my car than using a well-funded, low-priced or free public transportation system. And I think that sucks, and I think he sucks for that. And I have not been all that positive during this video, but I try to stay, in my heart of hearts, in my human heart, I try to stay positive about this kind of stuff. Thinking, oh, there's hope, it's okay. But Elon Musk has so much money and so much power that if he decides to do stuff like this, that if he is actually taking these steps to try to obfuscate, public transport as a solution from the majority of people, I think that's demonic. So I figured I'd mention that there's this guy who claims that Elon's biographer says that he tried to get in the way of public transport by publishing sort of half-baked public transport ideas that couldn't really work. So this guy's awesome. This guy's awesome. This guy's awesome. This guy's awesome. This guy, I love this guy. Okay, AI photo of him in the jacket that the Pope was in. Almost 1 million likes on this. Almost 1 million likes, so he is officially reaching 1/133rd of his audience. I'm old enough to remember how we blocked people in the 1980s. Do you remember? Well, back in the day, we couldn't call people. What we had to do is we had to take a can and attach string to it and scale the Appalachian mountain range. And then on the other side, we'd come back and we'd hand it to the president. We'd run back, and then we'd have to scream through it. We'd have to bellow through it like the Ricola guy in the ads. And then after all that, maybe you'd be able to tell your friend, hey, my mother died of the yellow fever. That's what we would do back in my days. It's just not funny. It's just not funny. This probably one of the worst decisions ever. Starting April.
Even that was funnier than what he wrote. Fuck. Bro was hilarious.
15th, only verified accounts will be eligible to be in the For You recommendation. This is the only realistic way to address advanced AI bot swarms taking over. It is otherwise a hopeless losing battle. Making it so that it's like borderline impossible to grow to be recommended to other people on Twitter unless you have paid for the account is a surefire way to make sure that most of your audience base that is interested in growing loses interest, right? So this is just a terrible decision, and bro just sucks. Life before Google Maps. The good old days. Life before Google Maps. The good old days. Oh my god! Wait, I just got this one. Me realizing AI, the most powerful tool that mankind has ever created, is now in the hands of a ruthless corporate monopoly. I'm sure it will be fine. Bro is talking about ruthless corporate monopolies like that's not what billionaires are interested in. Tweeting out RIP Harambe, and then tweeting a bunch of banks joining Harambe in heaven.
Literally, what year is it? What year is it? I'm stuck in a loop.
Wow. Dorian Gray theory is getting great. He really did go to Ursula, and she was like, okay, you can't be funny. You can't be funny, but you can own Twitter. That's what it was. He traded off any sort of self-awareness, any sort of genuine insight. You can give away all of your proclivity towards saying valuable things, but you can own Twitter. You will guaranteed have 1 million people like your stupid fucking tweets every 6 days. Cappuccino/latte art is delightful. Cappuccino/latte art is delightful. Cappuccino/latte art is delightful. Oh, what a nice tweet. Today I was thinking about, I love it when I go to a coffee shop and I order something, maybe a little cup of coffee, and there's art in it. I love that. And then I go on Twitter and I see Elon Musk saying,
cappuccino/latte art is delightful. Oh! Why, if that didn't tickle my fancy, I don't know what else would. I don't know what else would. I don't know.
Stop.
What else would. So, I mean, in the coming
Who is that person, though? Seriously.
weeks, Twitter will prioritize blah, blah, blah. This is really clear, right? What he did was he made it so that you could pay for verification, and then he just sort of starts this thing where he's like, well, if, you know, now that we've created this thing where you could have to pay for some features on the account, well, you know, AI people can't pay for all of their accounts, so now we can just conveniently make it so that we can, you know, keep certain vital functions of the application, of the website, behind paywalls. It's really not sneaky. I feel like he thinks he's being a lot sneakier than he is. He's not sneaky. You know who's sneaky? I'm sneaky. I look like Swiper. On the average day, I look like Swiper. On the average day, I look like Swipe. It's not even funny. I'm not even saying funny things at this point. That awkward moment when you spawn in the enemy's base and it's a chicken at KFC. 2010 ass humor. 2010 playground ass humor. Your friend.
I don't even get it. Why? It's literally a meme that a child made. Like, I think a child made this. It's so dumb.
2010 ass humor. 2010 playground ass humor. Your friend sneaks an iPod Touch into their middle school backpack and they're like, yo, check this out. This is funny. They show you like the most racist thing you've ever seen. And then that awkward moment when you spawn in an enemy's base. Have you guys heard of Filthy Frank? Do you guys know Filthy Frank and Max FOMO and iDubbbz? You know, I think at the end of the day, we can leave it with this terrible song that Elon Musk has parodied. It begins with "to meme the impossible meme," and it's so clearly a copy-paste. It's so clearly a copy-pasta. I think we can just sort of look at this and think, hey, this guy was at one point the richest man in the world. He's worth $200 billion, and this is what he's doing with his public persona. And, you know, I hope he's happy. I hope he's happy, because I'm not. I'm sure many people all over the world are not. Because of him. I hate him. At the end of the day, you know, I can try to be rational and normal all I want, but the dude just sucks. He's just not
So true, Queen.
cool. He's lame. He's a nerd. He's a square. He wears suspenders and glasses, and in polka dot paraphernalia. I can't do this anymore. Because I can feel bile launching out of my esophagus. So, I'm ending this segment. We're done.
That is absolutely not charitable. That's just a fairy tale criticism.
Oh, well, I think there's somebody in this conversation who's not being charitable, and it's not me.
I'm being as charitable as I can, considering how you're treating me.
I mean fucking Elon.
Okay, charity and charitable are not the same thing.
Sometimes.
You are so hard-headed about this.
You know, I am exactly where I need to be in this conversation,
historically.
historically.
So you think that when we're in Mars in 50 years, you're going to be on the right side of history?
50 years.
Yes, 50 years, if not sooner.
Oh, and I'm the one with a fairy tale criticism of him. Got it.
You
yeah.
want to upheave reality for your own desires.
Desires.
Yes, for like these childish longings.
Wanting people to be treated fairly is not childish.
It kind of is, though. There's a social...
Oh my god, what are you? Are you a drill sergeant? Do you want me to do push-ups? Sir, do you want me to do...
I cannot argue with you. You are deranged. What do you want from this guy? Do you want him to die?
I mean...
Wow, really? Not an instant? No.
I mean, that's
fucking insane.
It's a complicated issue. It requires nuance.
Stop.
Okay, I'm not stopping because you clearly don't understand yet. There's something you don't get.
You don't understand. You do not understand.
Understand what?
You are being mean to me. You are being mean. And you know what? I think I am done with this conversation.
Dodge.
Fucking freak.
Dodge.
That's unfortunate. I think the problem with conversations about wealth and inequality and what we want from life is that they have personal implications. Criticizing Elon Musk for his improprieties might hurt somebody's feelings, somebody who wanted to be rich like him or successful like him or popular like him, or someone who bought into his snake oil salesmanship. He is
an awfully good snake oil salesman. He was the richest man in the world for a spell. John Steinbeck once said, "I guess the trouble was that we didn't have any self-admitted proletarians. Everyone was a temporarily embarrassed capitalist." Capitalism is considered in its totality a deeply personal ideology, one that embeds itself in the hearts and minds of those who live within it. As much as a capitalist sees themselves as intrinsically valuable and worthy for their success, a worker might see themselves as a liability, completely undeserving and pathetic, projecting the unreasonable expectations of the successful as failures on their part. Even once we know that these demarcations of failure and success are constructed, we are subjected to the scorn and derision of those who don't think so, who think that wealth is a measure of success and poverty a measure of failure, who think that homelessness is indicative of a lack of drive, soul, potential. When we come face to face with the reality of inequality, we are flattened onto a plane of endlessly outstretched labor. There isn't a place to go up in any specific way. There's no way to escape the work, the day in, the day out. It's so much more comfortable to just accept some parts of this world than to reject the core assumptions, and I couldn't blame someone for being unable to come to terms with that fear. It's hard, though, because being complacent, accepting these tacit ideological assumptions as hard truth is harmful. It hurts people. It creates wedges that separate people. And it's especially painful because in a country like the United States, there's a...
Yeah, it's the individualism that is at the core of capitalism. Like, oh, if you pull up your bootstraps, then you could be successful individually. And there's no other extrinsic factors that affect your ability to do that. Which, of course, leaves you only to blame yourself for everything that ever happens to you. Which, of course, is insane. Just not realistic. Things are complex.
Distinct lack of global perspective, because we don't really have a lot of jobs at the bottom of the ladder anymore. Those have gone to Malaysia, India, other exploited countries where the United States offshores labor for slave wages. So most people in the United States really don't understand how bad it is at the bottom of the ladder. We think that the standard we live in is the global standard. It's not. 775 million people don't have access to electricity. 771 people don't have access to clean water. Those people are in the places in the world that are going to face the brunt of the climate crisis the soonest. A climate crisis caused by rapid industrialization and infinite expansion that is rewarded in our present system. So when you come at someone with a conversation about wealth and exploitation and labor, you're not just talking to people about a billionaire or Elon Musk. You're talking about a piece of their soul. You're talking about the dreadful state of the world, of the human. Accepting something small like billionaires are unethical or incompetent or stupid, that's not hard. What's hard is the rest of the realizations, the hundreds or thousands of changes you undergo when you abandon being uncritical. Questions about race, gender, class, the treatment of others, and yes, your very own actions. But at the end of the day, maybe I'm just a dick. Who knows? What I do know is that I'm very grateful that you have watched this video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Thank you to Scentbird for sponsoring. I'm serious. I've been wearing that perfume they sent me all month, and I really like how it smells. So if you want to support me, go use that Scentbird link. Check out my Patreon if you want to as well. But other than that, I think that's all I have to say for this video. So bye. Hi, welcome to the end of the video. Patron scroll. I usually just let it scroll with music or silence or just a song that I've made so that you guys can hear it, but I decided that I wanted to directly thank the highest tier, the Epsilon male tier, by name.
So good. That's so good. Okay. That's the conclusion of the Elon Musk molding section. If you have any further complaints about Elon Musk, please air them now. We've got more stuff coming up. More stuff. What is it? The oh yeah, I've got Duncan. About all the Twitter alternatives that have popped up. I just need to go to the bathroom. So I'll be right back.
Lately I've been going through shit. All the things I love seem to defeat me. I don't wanna do shit except smoke weed, sex, and watch TV. I've been feeling stupid, but it's hard to make great things look easy. I don't wanna do shit except smoke weed, sex, and watch TV. Tired of being motivated, consume all my life. I've had close to 30 jobs and still the minute writes. Then sometimes I see your face and everything is dry. What's the point in going on? Yeah, who stays up at night waiting for me to arrive? Waiting for me to. Lately I've been going through shit. All the things I love seem to defeat me. I don't wanna do shit except smoke weed, sex, and watch TV. I've been feeling stupid, but it's hard to make great things look easy. I don't wanna do shit except smoke weed, sex, and watch TV.
Trying not to lose it, finding what the truth is. Tone my ego down, this tug of war, spirit and skin. The time that you came around was when I really needed balance. Turn off the TV right now, 'cause you're the one with all the talent. All I ever do is try hearing you out when you got a problem. You know that you can speak it to me. Tired of 9 to 5, too much time is regular, I've been taken from me. I gotta slide when a lawyer coming like medication for me. I take a ride, I am so over this week.
Lately I've been going through shit. All the things I love seem to defeat me. I don't wanna do shit except smoke weed, sex, and watch TV. I've been feeling stupid, but it's hard to make great things look easy. I don't wanna do shit except smoke weed, sex, and watch TV.
The comic Snot Girl chat? What is that? A good song. Very good. Good.
Okay. I just got done doing the dishes. I promise I didn't like pee myself through my rib cage. Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. Seriously, what's happening with social media? It feels like everything is burning in this unrelenting fireball right now, and we're all kind of stuck on it. What are we doing? Is it just me? Is this a me problem? I have been on social media apps since 2012, so I have seen it all. And I've noticed this kind of pattern that whenever an app makes a choice that people don't really like, or they change in a way that seems opposite to their direction, a bunch of other apps will suddenly have the older version or can provide a solution. It's like they're popping out of nowhere to try and grab customers in the confusion and bring them over with their copycat features. Before we get too far in, let's address the Elon in the room, which is X, formerly
Mark Scott Pilgrim, creator Brian Lee's first monthly comic. Interesting. First issue's in the indication. It's a format he should have tackled a long time ago, regardless of your attachment to O'Malley's Previous works, not girl, #1 funny and compelling, downright weird look at the world of fashion blogging. Ooh. Interesting.
Twitter and whatever the hell happened there. The old version was not perfect by any means, but you could connect with other people and you could keep up with the news, which is essentially what I think a social media should do. Now the app is just overrun with weird ads and verification microtransactions. They're getting rid of the block button, last I heard. It seems like every 2.5 weeks there's a new system bug that will prevent you from accessing your followers or your DMs or your timeline. And the app just consistently feels like it's breaking. At least that's what I'm assuming it's still
all the
like.
time.
4 days ago it gave me this, which appears to be 2 screens crashed into one, and I cannot log in or access the app in any way. Yes, that is a try again button underneath an error loading page message merged with a loading name. None of these buttons work. I wasn't even using X, and for some reason it blocked me. The point is, Elon taking over Twitter and implementing all of these weird, bizarre changes made a lot of people start looking for a different app because Twitter, as they knew it, was going away. I have actually seen this happen before, and it's what I refer to as a new app migration. It's like when everyone's trying to jump ship, but...
Yes. Yeah, yes, the new app migration, it comes very, every fall, you know. It's very beautiful.
From your height, you can't tell if the lifeboats on the water are inflated or not. Now, people could always say that there being less social media out there is a good thing. It'll provide less distractions for us, it'll keep us off of our phones, you know, healthy arguments like that. I'd agree that some of those arguments are fair, Dad, but even if you're not on the social media, that doesn't mean that it just stops existing. And if you are holding yourself accountable and being responsible on these social media apps, maybe you should be there and not leave it to the others. It's possible with every social media. If you want to keep it low-key and just for friends, you can do that. If you want to argue with strangers, there's plenty of places you could do that. If you want to use it for news, you could follow news accounts. It's just, you control what you see on social media. Unless Elon removes the block button. But other than that, you can choose which communities of a social media you connect with. And I know it might take a little bit of work, but you can push away.
Punk tips. Hit the block button or not interested on anyone you want. If they know you in real life and confront you, tell the truth and ask why it's so important. Hot tip.
Everyone who is being cruel or heartless. And ideally, to me, that's what social media nature goes like. I think people should use their accounts how they want, not be robbed of the entire option. So when apps change, or shut down, or feel different, I do completely understand why people might get frantic and try to find a different app to fill that app hole. App hole.
Hey, yo. Hey, yo.
A familiar example.
Fill in my app hole, please.
Example of this for most people would be Vine. That app shut down entirely, and the creators who had careers on it were just left with nothing. And so, knowing they needed to pivot to another video platform, most of them all moved to YouTube. Fun fact, this is kind of how this new modern style of commentary sort of developed. But it also probably led to the popularization of TikTok. So these timelines are affected by choices, I guess is the point. And here's the part that some people don't
live in
know
a society.
Because years ago, the creators of Vine announced that they would be making the app again under the name of Vine 2. But then after a year of releasing that news, the app eventually came out under a different name of Byte. Does anyone remember Byte? I can't blame you if you don't. There were likely legal reasons they couldn't name it Vine 2, but without that name power, Byte just didn't have, don't say Byte, it just didn't have enough of a hold on people's attention. Well, I had made a Byte account because I had hoped it would be like Vine 2, but when I realized that it wasn't, I deleted my account. I'm not, still crying about it, but it would have been nice if that had worked. But I hadn't thought about it in a long time, so I tried to look up how Byte was doing these days. It turns out it was purchased by another app called Clash, who then absorbed all of Byte into Clash, making it just like a bigger Clash. But I had never heard of this app, so I tried to look up how Clash was doing these days. Turns out the app was renamed to Huddles. So then I tried
Huddles?
to look up and see how Huddle was doing these
Huddles?
days. And
a terrible name.
It was discontinued this May. I had no idea any of that was happening. I don't fully know what Clash was. I really don't know what Huddles was, but it existed at the beginning of this year, and I didn't know about it. And I don't mean to assume, but I don't think that I'm alone in that.
Never heard of Huddles in my life. It does sound like a diaper brand.
These giant companies are just off in the background, just absorbing each other and trying to evolve. And a lot of us don't know about it because most of us have just moved to TikTok, which is the unofficial, successful Vine successor. I don't know if Huddles was trying to compete with TikTok, but I don't think they stood a chance, especially not in the year of our Lord 2023. So rest in peace, Vine 2 / Byte / Clash / Huddles. Sorry you're gone. One app migration that I did get to participate in was the change in leadership over on Tumblr in around 2017. Yes, this means that officially I am an ex-Tumblr boy. I had a meme account. It wasn't anything crazy, but
Sure.
what you're laughing out now. Yahoo bought Tumblr and then immediately tried to make it a more family-friendly app by putting a ton of restrictions on it. They placed a lot of bans on artists, and Tumblr was like 70% artists. The entire app felt different, nobody seemed really happy, so I deleted my account and started looking elsewhere. This is probably around the time that I found Twitter, and it became my new go-to favorite social media. So in this case, when Tumblr changed, I migrated. So in this case, when Tumblr changed, the point is, I participated in the migration from Tumblr over to Twitter, so I have some experience in changing apps. That is my water. Going back to X, this is where the next big move seems to be starting, or half starting, or not starting. Elon is actively bringing down the app's quality. I don't know if it's intentional, but goddamn. Twitter started failing a lot of people, and a lot of other companies saw that as a perfect time to strike with their Twitter features, or copycats, or imitations. So unfortunately, for the time being, I do need to find a replacement for X. I have really enjoyed my time on Twitter, but if I can't even log in anymore, then it's time to move on. So I am joining the mass of people who are looking elsewhere, and we have been given 3 traditional major options. Blue Sky. Okay, so the guy Jack, who made Twitter and then sold Twitter, is now making another Twitter with all of the old stuff replaced, and he's calling it Blue Sky. I don't know if he's doing a haha, I sold it and then I reinvented it kind of a bit. I don't know. But I'm not hearing very much about Blue Sky from people, and I really don't know what's going on over there. And there's a pretty big reason why. And I'll tell you. You need an invite code from an existing Blue Sky user to be added. And I believe each person...
Yeah, I have codes if anyone needs one, by the way.
...only gets 1 invite code to give out, so it's very exclusive. But even still, Blue Sky is not really being talked about very much, so that migration path is closed off to me. People were also advocating for the app Mastodon, not to be confused with the big hairy elephant from the Ice Ages. Although there's not really a whole lot to fix up that confusion. The elephant comes up first when you look it up, That's a big problem. Obviously, we want to know what
Stop.
we're dealing with, right? So what is the app? Is it like Twitter? Is it more like Facebook? Turns out it's like both, but it's decentralized, whatever that means. It's also open source. I don't know what any of that is. I don't know anyone who uses Mastodon, so I'm gonna have to look it up. Is Mastodon any good? An effective Twitter alternative that supports the decentralized stuff. It could use some visual enhancements. Huh. So it's good, at least for some things. Is anyone using it? Users are leaving Mastodon. Got it. That's enough for me. Just because alternative apps show up when one is crumbling.
I don't think anyone's really using these new apps. It doesn't seem like anyone's on Threads. I don't see like a ton of people on Blue Sky. I don't know.
Doesn't mean they're all going to be good ones. No offense, Mastodon. Even though that's clearly who I'm talking about. That leaves only one popular option left for me, and it's Instagram Threads. And ironically, there are some strings attached to it. Threads was going to be Instagram's next big original idea they're so well known for having. They took stories from Snapchat, they took Reels from TikTok, they took the marketplace from consumerism. Okay, that's not really an app. So now we have Threads, which was inspired by Twitter. But how similar is it to Twitter? Is it a good clone? Is it going to be the next big thing? You can post, reply, and follow. People can reply with pictures and links available. And if you follow someone, they can view their original threads and replies from the profile. So to me, it kind of sounds like they threw a blanket over Facebook and are trying to present it back to all of us who left it. There's nothing wrong with that in itself, but
pretty much
that's the only way I'm going to think about it from now on. Also,
Zoomer
that
Facebook
catch that I mentioned is that you cannot delete your Threads account without it also deleting your Instagram account. So if you've had an Instagram for 8 years and you make a Threads on a whim and then decide it's not for you, you can't get rid of it without also getting rid of the Instagram. And that's weird. I don't know why they decided to soul bond the two just to force people to keep profiles that they don't want.
Yes, they can.
I really need someone to explain that one to me. So Blue Sky, Mastodon, and Threads were the big three mainstream options people could go to from Twitter. And this one didn't feel like an app migration. It was starting to look a little bit more like an app sinkhole. Because I'm sure all of these platforms had a boost in members when this was big news, but if these apps can't retain people's attention, then they're gonna go the way Byte did and get absorbed and get renamed to something like Huddles. And look, you could dismiss this whole video by saying, I don't care about social media, and getting off it is probably for the best. And that makes sense, but there's people on the opposite side who need to fill that space with another app, another outlet, and I don't blame them for frantically searching for a new option after Twitter. You can leave it and move on, or you can find another one and stay there.
Both sides are valid. Yay! Centrist Andy, everyone wins!
It's social media, so really the user, you, gets to decide where you want to end up on that scale. Personally, I'm going to use this opportunity not to cut down on social media, but rather refocus on the ones that I actually like. Not just enjoy using, but like. Like, I could jump onto Threads to claim my space and be there as a presence, but I don't think I'd enjoy it. So I'm just going to let that opportunity pass me by. And again, that's not the solution, that's just...
I feel like the reason people are leaving is largely not because the app isn't working. I mean, that's probably part of it, but there's like so much racism, transphobia, homophobia, death threats, like all kinds of shit that like you just don't necessarily want to see, especially if you like belong to any of those groups that are being targeted. it's just not fun. I think that's probably a bigger part of it.
My answer, and as long as you approach this thoughtfully, I'm sure you'll end up with a choice that feels the same to you. And besides, I think a lot of Twitter users are just gonna plant their feet and kind of wait for the Elon era to pass. I don't blame them for doing that. And that probably would be something I do if it weren't for this. So that means that you personally have to take inventory of your social media options and pick which one sounds right for you. You know, I'm just gonna make an anonymous Tumblr again. Why not? Twitter, you've driven me back to Tumblr. That's where we're at.
Don't deprive us.
What is your favorite color? Green.
Don't deprive us of the Tumblr posting.
Why are you such a handsome boy? Stop it. Thank you. My parents, I guess? Are you American? Yes. For now. How did you pick Aeoli's name?
For now.
Aeoli origin story.
Aeoli was $30, and her original name was Cleopatra, and I knew she was the one when I was seeing all the cats, and they were all really sweet, and she comes up, starts screaming, and then tries to burrow under my shirt.
Pee-pee or poo-poo? Neither, if I can avoid it. Favorite bird species? Pigeons. I love those guys. Height / short man or tall man? I'm 5'11", which means culturally I am considered a short, tall man. Favorite Garfield character? Spider John Arbuckle. Do you listen to Phoebe Bridgers / Boy Genius? I do sometimes. I'm a sucker for indie melancholy music. How many toes do you have? The normal amount, I'm hoping. What's your favorite Phoebe Bridgers song? What's your favorite Phoebe Bridgers song? Okay, 2 questions, 2 answers. I would say Kyoto and Demi Moore. What's your second favorite dinosaur? The Iguanodon, just because it looks goofy. Love those guys. Favorite Billie Eilish song? Either Goodbye or All the Good Girls Go to Hell. How do you like your eggs? Painted and hidden outside the house. What's the best dessert? Banana bread, personally. In my case, that would make it gluten-free banana bread, but I don't wish that on you guys. Top 5 Phoebe songs. Do I just give off like a Phoebe Bridgers fan vibe? Like, is that my brand? 3 is Motion Sickness. 4 is If We Make It Through December. 5 is Garden Song. What is your middle name? Emerson. My parents named me after the writer. And I'm really glad they didn't go with Ralph or Waldo. What color?
Iguanodon sounds like a reptile over rice. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Is your toothbrush? Purple and orange. Okay, this one is just a very compressed minion meme. Like, I can't read that. So, to be safe, yes. Why? I don't know. Go ask your mother. If you could give advice to the world, what would it be? Plan for the future, but cherish the moment. Everything ends, so enjoy things while they're here. Not in a sad way. If you can. Toilet paper facing the wall or the room? The room, right? It's closer. Just get a bidet. Don't know if you'd even know the answer, but what do you think formed your opinions the most to get you to where you are, / what events in your life led you to grow into the insightful person you are today? Nature, nurture, my parents, my classmates, good luck and bad luck, getting hurt and understanding why and healing from it. Or my mom dropped me on my head, maybe that was it. What hand do you use to wipe? Seriously, just get a bidet. It's hands-free.
Stop.
When are you having your government-mandated gender identity crisis? Joke's on you, I don't respect the government, so I'll do it on my own time. Later, probably. Why do they call it an oven?
Later,
Because you
probably.
oven in the cold food.
Egg moment?
I don't know, I mostly eat fruit. What's it like to be a Pisces man? I have to win people over if they know I'm a Pisces. People recoil when they find that out. Like, I have immediate hurdles to overcome. Favorite Mitski album?
Then.
Bury
Yeah.
Me.
No. I'm a Pisces and I get the same reaction. It's my fault. Okay? I didn't choose to be a Pisces.
Can't Make Out Creek. All of them are good, but she slam dunks that one. When? Soon. How's your health lately? I hope you're fine. I appreciate that. I'm out here confusing doctors and fighting my hardest every day, so... Do you have a favorite Taylor Swift song? If so, what is it? Yes. New Year's Day. Do you play games or watch anime? If so, what are your favorites? I'm picky with anime, but I would say Berserk. As for video games, I think it's Mario Kart. Do you prefer capybaras or raccoons? Capybaras don't steal my trash. But, I mean, they're both fine. What is the trickiest fantasy creature you could take on in a battle of wits? Leprechauns and gnomes I can handle. Riddles, I'm fine with. I think I could handle a bridge troll. I think mermaids is where I draw the line. That's a drowning case, for sure. What kind of music do you listen to? Well, melancholic women, it seems. Do you read books? And do you read, if so, any recommendations? I love how both of these are phrased as if there's a possibility that no, I can't read. But yes, I can. But no, I don't, because I'm usually making or editing videos. Then there's a lot of questions about movies that have inspired me, or like films that prompted me to go to film school, and it's a cop-out answer, but I'm gonna say all movies. If I see a good one, then I want
all
to replicate
movies.
The parts I liked, and if I see a bad one, I
Oh, you like all movies? And name every movie ever.
think about what parts I could have changed or improved. Everything counts. Thank you everyone for your questions. Extra thank you to the patrons, and take care of yourself. I love you lots. Bye.
Advertising. Ever heard?
Time for more row. This is the new thing on the TikTok. The ticky tacky.
Advertising. Ever heard of it? Of course you have. It's the thing that made you purchase a neoprene beer cozy whose manufacturing process has substantive links to the disappearance of Malaysian Flight 370. Advertisements, just like old people who've forgotten how to be racist, make the world go round. They dominate our day-to-day life. I'm sure if you gained consciousness right now, which I know you haven't yet, you could identify like 45 logos around you. I'll try it right now. Steam Deck, Roland, oh, that just says Solar Wind's Curse Be Upon You in Ancient Akkadian. I don't know who put that there. Now for a little pivot. TikTok, heard of it? It's the social media application that has taken the world by storm, slowly grating sandpaper on the neural tissue of every 14-year-old until the only thing they can handle is looking directly in the barrel of a strobe light while eating nerds clusters. TikTok and advertising have a storied past, an exciting future, and an awful present, and also an awful of both of those things that I hate. So how about you and me have a little talk about advertising, TikTok, and how terrible it is. After this word from our sponsor.
Oh my god. Perfect
Hi,
debate.
welcome back to the channel. If you subscribe right now, I will get you removed from Jigsaw's cold call list. God, advertising on TikTok is terrible. I do like how I'm sitting like an art teacher who really thinks that you haven't seen her viral Judge Judy divorce court moment. Okay, thesis statement. TikTok advertising is terrible, ethically and aesthetically. I didn't notice it for a while because if you hooked me up to an MRI while I was scrolling TikTok, you would think that I was in REM. The electrochemistry of my brain drops dangerously low. You could power me with AAAs or daisy-chained vegetables. The true horror of TikTok advertising only occurred to me recently when I started getting advertisement after advertisement for this shadow journal thing.
Love these prompts.
Y'all will do anything for a
Buy the shadow. Babe, let's just get into the shadow. We're gonna peek at the first few. My inner child is beyond fucked up, so let's see. Well, I guess I got more problems than I actually helped me never about the shadow journal and that shadow journal. Works with my trauma.
Shadow journal. Every single one of these videos is from
way too dank.
A different person, but it has links to one TikTok shop where you can purchase the aforementioned shadow journal. All of these in one day. I know what you're thinking is like, what's the shadow journal? It better have death note-like properties. It better give me superpowers. It's just a self-help mental health journal. I'm reading from it right now. Guilt wound, abandonment wound, trust wound, neglect wound. If I wanted to pay to circle things, I would go to urgent care. If you're not from the United States, urgent care is like an emergency room light. It's where they send the doctors brave enough to tell you to walk off any injury of body or mind. How am I supposed to walk off a fungal infection on my penis? I'm not sure. But let me tell you, it looks like a Gasper Note DVD case down there, all primaries. You know, this is the type of journal a high school counselor would give you after another student chased you around with a nail gun and a copy of Battlefield Earth. Like, there's nothing we can do with this school, but...
Shadow journal?
It was around the time that I started getting ads for this journal that my good Moody posted a video about the ridiculous amount of ads he was seeing, and I said, Downs, egad, great Scott, there are a lot of ads on here. and it blows.
Now, as a little test, I went on TikTok and scrolled for about 15 minutes. I got about 16 official ads, but what do I mean by official ads? Well, there are sponsored ads put out by TikTok, and then there's self-promotion. While the self-promotion is less systematized and I think less malevolent or whatever, it is still advertising. I got ads from multiple podcasts, and of course, basically every account on TikTok is trying to advertise themselves in some way, so the entire app is like a promotional language. There's no escape from advertising in a broader sense. Now, you can skip these official ads as fast as you want by just scrolling past, which is cool, and I am surprised that there are only so many, considering that you're able to skip them. My theory is that maybe they can show you less ads if you're on the app longer, because you're spending so much time on TikTok compared to other social media that you're generating the same amount of revenue you would if you were on a different app that people tend to spend less time on, but that's just a theory. Let's talk about the variants of ads that you'll find on
That's just a theory, a TikTok theory.
TikTok and elsewhere. Now, usually if I were to see an ad on television, it would come in one of three vessels: a commercial, a brand integration into a TV show or a movie, or a paid sponsorship during a live broadcast. Think Pepsi's halftime show, or Sunny D's True Crime Expose, or Duncan's DUI Corner, America drives on Duncan. So let's ignore the ad placement inside of the content for now. The commercial and the live broadcast are generally very easy to distinguish from the actual television show you are watching, based on context clues, stylistic shifts in content, and how these advertisements are usually temporally separate. Ad breaks usually occur at designated times in episodes, and during sports broadcasts, usually the sponsor is mentioned during a lull or in the name of itself. You know, Totino's Great American Slaughterhouse, Tillamook presents Upton Sinclair's The Jungle, The Epic of Gilgamesh presented by Triscuits. However, in non-traditional advertising, which is to say hidden advertising, a degree of the effectiveness is bound to come from the audience's inability to recognize it consistently. For instance, I watched 30 Rock religiously when I was young, and there were lots of obvious ad placements for McDonald's McFlurries, but I only actively noticed them on a rewatch in high school. You might say that's because when I was a child, I fell into an industrial rock tumbler before my soft spot had closed, and my brain looks like a silky opal now. I'd tell you to please request that Lively kindly remove that video, use the flag button, and report it. On the other hand, the recent Barbie movie is at its core an advertisement, in its totality promotion, in addition to its inclusion of a car chase that was essentially a Chevy advertisement. In the paper, is children's understanding of non-traditional advertising comparable to their understanding of television advertising by Laura Owen, Charlie Lewis, Susie Ante, and Monique Bougienne? They write, non-traditional advertising is also expected to be less understood by children on account of the more subtle persuasion processes involved. Because non-traditional advertising is frequently embedded within the flow of a more central narrative, it may not always be perceived consciously. According to the Emergent Graded Representations account of cognition, different experiences may be accessed in different ways. So although television advertisements, particularly those targeted at children, often incorporate peripheral cues such as animated characters and emotive content, television advertising is typically delineated from the entertainment content, and as such is far more likely to be accessible to verbal recall both in terms of its content and as an advertisement. Now you might jump and say, Rose, since when are we talking about children ages 0 to 12? I said TikTok, didn't I? Ages 10 to 19 are 25% of users, not to mention children using their parents' account and children outright lying about their ages when creating an account. Do you know how much children lie? I told people I wasn't gay for 19 years. What did I gain from that? That long con is either indicative of sociopathy or being a child. Anyways, the conclusion of that same paper states, conclusions. Our findings raise serious ethical
sociopathy or being a child. It's the same thing.
Although children are actively engaged in a commercial world, they are not wholly aware that they are the subject of marketing campaigns when they encounter these alternative, non-traditional advertisements, particularly when brands are highly embedded within entertainment. Without an understanding of a persuasive intent, children will be at a greater disadvantage when it comes to evaluating these techniques critically and will be more likely to be unfairly targeted. On ethical grounds, non-traditional advertising must be viewed as inappropriate for children, given their deficits in understanding. This lack of understanding should be rectified and prompted if these
kids are too dumb and stupid to be advertised to. Dumb bitch-ass babies.
Techniques are to be targeted at children. See, you can tell it's a conclusion because it says conclusion at the top, and they're speaking pretty confidently. Just a little academia hack, conclusion means end. It also comes from the Latin concludere, which means bitter end of the YouTube woman, and that comes from the Akkadian word for solar wind curse be upon you. I'm starting to get worried about this whole curse thing. So ads on TikTok are basically only non-traditional, which is to say they explicitly try to blend in with their surroundings, apart from a few little, like, stickers or badges that say that they're ads. But don't take it from me, take it from TikTok's official TikTok for Business ad homepage, where they advertise unlocking your creativity. Customize your content with TikTok Video Editor for true native content creation. Add music, text, creative effects, transitions, and more to create content that looks, feels, and sounds like a TikTok video. So let's look back at some of those shadow journal videos, understanding that they are functionally advertisements. First things first, none of them say sponsored content, they all say eligible for commission, which is a cheeky, sneaky way for saying ad. It means that this creator can purchase a product and then advertise that product and take a cut of commission, a small piece of whatever purchases their video produces. This means that being an advertising vessel is being effectively democratized. You no longer have to have hundreds of thousands of followers. In fact, a girl that made a video on it, which I'll put up on screen, said that she only had 9,000 at the time that she was able to start being eligible for commission and taking, cuts of the products she was advertising. This means that folks most people wouldn't think of as advertisers, in a format that most people wouldn't think of as an advertisement, can absolutely be producing advertisements. And they also naturally come about in your stream the same way that normal videos do.
Yeah, and I do think a lot of this goes like under the table type of deals, like just because it doesn't say eligible for commission or ad doesn't mean it's not an ad.
They usually do not appear in a video naturally, like in a longer form YouTube video with a disclosure of sponsorship. And oftentimes in these TikToks, they will just happen. It just says sponsored at the bottom and hashtag ad, and you're getting flashbanged with commerce. I don't think most of us would tolerate walking out into public and being pelted with Ulta Cosmetics by paparazzi, unless you're a little freak like me. I don't like that bit. But this is an issue of social media advertising at large, including YouTube. My video, my advertisements. I say this video is sponsored by this agency up front and try to include a bar so that they're easily to move past, but nonetheless, YouTube is kind of a kids app, and I'm putting advertisements in my videos on an app that is frequented by kids who might not be able to discern them if they're not properly labeled.
In the article In the Era of Teensploitation, Our Capitalist Media Culture of Youth Without Youth by Liz Pelly, Pelly writes, websites directed at children and websites that are popular with children are required to take special precautions with children's data. In fact, parental permission is required before that data can be collected at all. Corporations like YouTube and Facebook, however, knowingly evade these regulations by claiming that their products are meant for users aged 13 and over. YouTube is the most popular website for children in the entire world, and they know it, Campbell told me. And yet YouTube, in its terms of service, claims that its product is not for children under the age of 13. It shrewdly invites kids to talk to your parents about what sites are appropriate for you. Further, YouTube insists that children under 13 are directed to YouTube Kids, a separate app with its own privacy policy. Despite these claims, the primary version of YouTube is still producing children's content and programming. If kids are on YouTube watching kids' videos, all of their data is just getting hoovered right up into Google's ad machine, Campbell explained.
All of this is made worse by the fact that
so gross. It's so gross. Like, what do you want to do with a baby's data? Like, how useful is that really? Like, it's a kid. It's not like they're gonna like the same content in, like, a year. Like, how are you even gonna target advertising like that? Like,
social medias are advertising platforms, and the online advertising tax is the foundation of a public service internet, which, by the way, I didn't read. I just got one chapter off of JSTOR. Christian Fuchs writes,
Google and Facebook are among the world's largest transnational corporations. In the 2017 Forbes ranking of the 2,000 biggest global companies, Google/Alphabet came 24th with an annual profit of $19.5 billion US. With a profit of $9.5 billion US, Facebook was in 119th place. Neither company sells communication services. What they sell is online advertising. In economic terms, it is thus inaccurate to refer to Google and Facebook as communications companies.
They know when they say not for kids, kids want it even more. That's true. That's true.
Rather, they are two of the world's largest advertising businesses. Google and Facebook's profitability is linked to profound changes within the advertising industry.
So Facebook is, of course, social media, and it makes sense then that platforms like Instagram, Twitter, TikTok are primarily making money through ads. Thus, their goal as brands to become more profitable is twofold. One, to keep you on the app, make it addictive enough to rope you back in so you can create content through which they will do two, advertise effectively to you and others, so that when you're on the app, you're making them money. This all points back to the age-old adage that if you're not receiving something for free, you may end up being the product. Advertising is a sociologically relevant force. I'm not saying
Is it not adage? Adage.
Sociologically because I'm a sociologist or I want to sound smart. I'm saying sociologically because I'm about to, quote, a sociology paper, okay? Chill the fuck out of me, dude. Seriously, you're way too close to the screen. Advertisements really are effective, though. From the moment I saw an advertisement for the LGBTQ when I was like 8 years old, I knew I wanted to sit at a Dr. Strangelove table and discuss removing a 15-year-old from the GSA for disrespecting gray/demisexual elders. Where did I see that ad? Please, it was HGTV. Property Brothers, and the ad was called Just Lookin'. I'd like to think I'm the Kim Il-sung of commentary YouTube, for reasons I won't explain. Just kidding, I will explain. It's because tight suits make me look like a push pop. In Advertising Mother, Image, Ideology, and Consumption by Karen Dana Lynch, published in the Berkeley Journey of Sociology, that's right, we're getting peer-reviewed, Lynch writes,
Conclusion. Advertising images of motherhood are not simply a conglomeration of disconnected ideas. They form a fully elaborated, logically cohesive framework outlining the ideological role of mothers in consumer society. Implicitly or explicitly, ads supply specific ideas about who mothers are, what they look like, and what their behavior entails. From the overall sample of ads, we learn that mothers are neat and attractive white women who focus their energies on their home and or children rather than the paid labor force. Although the causal direction is uncertain, the decade-by-decade analysis shows that motherhood evolved from domestically centered to child-centered expertise in interaction with the requisites of both shifting gender norms and shifting product markets.
This paper was an analysis of advertisements taken from randomly selected issues of Life and Redbook during the latter half of the 20th century. But as for advertising and products shaping norms and discourse, we still see it happening today. Take, for instance, the last 50,000 viral ad campaigns that have sparked some kind of culture war. Everything from the Gillette toxic masculinity ad from nearly half a decade ago to the Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light commercial. It's almost too easy to
Oh my god. Oh my, this was from fucking forever ago. When was that? They're still talking about it, by the way. Like, there's still reactionaries out there milking the Dylan Mulvaney shtick. It's unbelievable. It's been like 3 months now, I think. Man.
Start woke discourse with an ad. You know, just make a Campari ad where a horse is given a seat in parliament. The French will riot for 4 weeks straight. So advertisements absolutely react to culture, but we react to advertisements shaping culture further. With the amount of money poured into advertising globally yearly, it makes sense that it would be a powerful force. I feel the same way about, you know, gaming or whatever. These days I avoid spike pits and poison lakes like nobody's business. And I don't remember the last time I took my eyes off of the princess. And not in a sexual way. What? I don't know. Okay, I don't know where the fuck this bit is going. Now, to clarify, when I reference this paper, I'm not saying that a 2005 analysis of 20th century magazines is the same thing as analysis of TikTok ads, but I am saying the obvious thing, that advertisements both inform and are informed by culture. I could either say that in a common sense way or back it up with quotes from a real research paper that says really interesting things that are backed up with research and are in fact relevant to how culture works. Additionally, I think this paper lets me say something else, which is that teenagers are hugely susceptible to advertisements. So many of these shadow journal ads are using this idea of fixing yourself or healing or being better, which might hugely appeal to mentally ill young people who are insecure or obsessed with becoming better. If you advertise a book to someone that will tell them what is wrong and how to fix it, you might get people who think something is wrong and that they need fixing. Now, I know what you're thinking. Rose, are you saying that advertisements are manipulative? Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. And kind of in a bad way too, like a psychologically harmful way probably. Take this article from the Harvard Business Review, Advertising Makes Us Unhappy, in which writer Nicole Torres interviews Andrew Oswald.
And you're sure the lower life satisfaction isn't due to the other things that you just mentioned affect it, like age and marital status?
Those are among the things we controlled for in addition to the unemployment rate and GDP. We also controlled for the underlying starting levels of happiness in advertising in countries because we want to do a fair comparison with the same baseline. And year by year, we controlled for what you might call shocks. Think of oil price shocks that have a common set of consequences across the whole of Europe.
How big is the negative effect of ads?
Our analysis shows that if you doubled advertising spending, it would result in a 3% drop in life satisfaction. That's about half the drop in life satisfaction you'd see in a person who had gotten divorced, or about one.
How do you quantify life satisfaction in a percentage? That's so strange.
And third, the drop you'd see in someone who'd become unemployed. We have a lot of experience working out how people are affected by bad life events, and advertising has sizable consequences, even when compared with them.
On one hand, this is surprising. On the other hand, No, it isn't. Ads are implicitly about making us desire things that we may not be able to have. Not only that, but they are about hacking our psychology in the most streamlined way possible to make us desire what they show. Market testing, focus groups, all of this is done to try to produce products and advertising that will worm into our brains and not leave. To think that this has some sort of mental toll when we are exposed to it at the rate we are does not feel, at least to me, at all controversial. This of course extends to body image, diet, gendered expectations. The funnel of profit maximization is one that leads us to socially and culturally dominant forces. Appealing to the most people might be appealing to a harmful set of ideals.
Okay, now here's the other thing that pissed me off enough to make this video. People have started advertising their products by rage farming, by farming rage interactions. As I'm writing the script, I don't have any of the videos saved, and I'm not going to go looking for them, but I'm going to describe them to you. It's just that the minute that one of these videos comes up on my For You page, I block the person. The zeptosecond it happens, I'm like when a cop sees a dog, and like a fawn reacting to the boom of the thunder, he has to pet it. I know I spent this video just citing random studies and academic papers, but I gotta end it pissed. Because if nothing, I'm stupid, and I like to get angry over dumb stuff. Sometimes a little thing pisses you off a big amount. So after I worked through all my emotions over this, I rented a Toyota Tercel, and I careened into a reservoir. I drove into a canyon that was filled with water, and it was also a reservoir. The way that these videos work is, so the products will be priced reasonably, and a child will comment saying, "Oh, this is too much for the product," and they'll forget a period. The price will be like $40, but then the comment will be like, $4,000? You gotta be out of your mind. And then a motherfucker will respond to it, pointing at the comment being like, so I've been getting a lot of comments like this, and if you think that these products are too expensive, just remember, I do all the work myself, I do package all the packages myself. Shut the fuck up. It's not... Sorry, I got lighter fluid in here. I can't stand it. I can't see another one. I can't see another one. I hate the idea of somebody pointing to a comment to advertise. Pointing to, let's engage in a dialogue so that I can sell you something. Shut the fuck up. And it's wild. It's wild because there's no critique of these videos. They're just...
The line between content and advertising grows ever thinner.
Annoying, and I hate them. They're the convergence of interaction bait and search engine optimization and everything terrible, and they're contributing to the end of history. Hegel wrote about this, guys. I'm gonna become like a reactionary Republican talking about the end of society in my car about this topic.
Oh no.
It would be great if I recorded a sketch about that.
Sorry about that, guys. I just want to say we're reaching an event horizon with these people. They're fast-tracking us to Fahrenheit 451. They're posting this stuff from Kevlar bunkers under the Bohemian Grove with Condoleezza Rice and Emilio Estevez enjoying their expensive tax-free vineyards and freebase and Citron, okay? We got to do some work to shut down this
Why is this too real?
Governmental apocalypse call. Let me tell you something right now. One more engagement bait ad and society's going to crumble up out underneath us, and the COVID-20 rats are going to start streaming into the Macy's like floodwater, okay? Into the TJ Maxx's like floodwater, infrastructure swallowed by Mother Gaia, right? Soul cycle employees with bike madness, non-on viaducts like beavers. Hard to say how important this is, folks. You're going to be walking to Erewhon on stilts, okay, to avoid the sea of gray water and Dorper blood. Moon is going to turn red. You won't be able to pitch a startup without sacrificing a pure blood mule in front of ByteDance executives. This ain't a far off future. This ain't a million years from now. This is tomorrow. This is today. Eye trackers in your Cinnamon Toast Crunch. If you don't got a Brita filter, get one. All right, because they're going to start pumping DPH into the aqueducts. You're going to be seeing spiders by night noon. And that's fucking true.
Anyways, I'm gonna do a pensive, introspective final monologue on the subject to close this thing out. I thought I wanted to write more, but who gives a fuck, right? I'm just your digital clown. Tap the screen right now, say, hi digital clown, take a photo, post it, tag me, hashtag digital clown, and then hashtag invisible prisoner. Then post your Ate with Ramdin photo if you're eating. That's a command!
All right, final thoughts. Advertisements fill me with overwhelming agony and dread for a few reasons. The first being that I didn't want to see them. I was exposed to them against my will, but also that I didn't have the option to not see them in the first place. While making this video, I did research on the seemingly mythologized claim that people see anywhere from 3 to 10,000 ads a day, and I came to the conclusion that although it seems more variable than that, depending on what you consider an ad, you could absolutely be seeing 10,000 ads a day. I consider an ad essentially anything that amounts to a brand trying to communicate with me against my will. It's like a delicate, bite-sized piece of psychological warfare. Logos, copywriting, billboards, flavor text on packaging, a storefront, and you know, when I think about it that way, I absolutely see thousands of ads a day. If I enter a store, if I leave my home, if I purchase something, you know, it is covered in ads, and then I take it home with me. It's claustrophobic, and what's worse is that during my research, time and time again, it was emphasized that people forget most of the ads they see, that advertisements are ubiquitous and obnoxious to the point that people phase them out. They're nauseating and overt and unwanted, but we are exposed to them so much that our brains are just, I guess they've improved at pretending that we don't see them. The influencer economy is rife with ads too, just ones that we aren't taught are ads. A thumbnail, the way someone presents themselves, the first 5 seconds of a TikTok, a profile picture. All of these things are, to me, a new breed of ads. Ads for people, for businesses that exist to prop up a person in the creator economy. The construction of new kinds of people exists for this too. There's certain types of influencers, clean girl aesthetic, the same copy and paste internet comedians. Trying to go viral, while not strictly effective in an advertising sense, is still a promotional effort. It sees the people who desire it eschewing other passions, interests, aesthetic flares for a market-tested lowest common denominator, something that can and will appeal to the masses. Social media for the companies is about advertising, finding money through it, but also for the users. It's about the grind, it's about visibility, it's about perception, and it's about commodifying yourself from framing to lighting to wording to tone. Things like the YouTube accent aren't a coincidence. They're a marketability asset, something creators can use to get attention when they otherwise wouldn't. At this point, we are being voluntarily pulled into a commodification singularity. We're starting to walk and talk like the big businesses we claim to hate. That's the video. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you like me? I really hope you liked me.
What is the YouTube accent? I'm not sure I know what she means by that, but otherwise this is good.
A little bit cute, like a balloon that's come to life, like a field mouse who got a traumatic head injury. Thank you so much. But if you got a little penny, if you got a little pretty penny in your pocket, and you're looking to support somebody like me, I got a Patreon, patreon.com/realramdin. Gonna be honest with you, I'm kind of broke as shit right now. I'm, you know, I'm not struggling. Well, I'm a little bit struggling, but I'm not struggling, you know. I'm like struggling light. I'm struggling, and you can play you download me off the App Store and you can play a few levels, and then it says $3.99 for more struggle. But I can't afford that because I'm struggling light. My Patreon will have occasional updates. You get access to all of the music that I use in these videos. I make, it's royalty free. It's like beats, background beats. You get access to those if you want to use them in your videos. If we reach $2,000, I'm gonna release like a bunch, like a ridiculous amount, like 50 songs. Maybe not 50 songs, like 30 songs of unreleased music from 2 albums that I scrapped. So that might be exciting to you. Oh, and also big announcement, weekly videos for the next year. Yeah, every Friday. I'm uploading every Friday for the next year. I should have said that. I should have said that at the beginning of this. You know what? Yeah, I should have said that at the beginning of this outro. As always, thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Listen, we're reaching an event horizon with these people. They're fast tracking us to Fair and 4 how.
The long movie. Okie dokie. It's history time. Fun to learn.
The Bingus, the most perfect of animals, in my correct opinion. He sprinkles. Ketoses. A creature. You understand? But why is the Bingus? This creature was not created by God. Nay, but by man. This thing was not on Noah's Ark, okay? No matter how many little fucking fuckboys keep trying to tell me, the Bingus mother, that they're this magical ancient Egyptian breed that was worshipped as gods. No. This baby is an invention of the 1970s. One of the biggest breed registries in the world, the International Cat Association, defines the Sphynx as having a wedge-shaped head with—
That's so recent. What?
Prominent cheekbones, large lemon-shaped eyes, very large ears with hair on the inside but soft down on the outside base, a well-muscled, powerful neck of medium-length torso, barrel-chested, and a full, round abdomen, sometimes called a potbelly, paw pads thicker than other cats, giving them the appearance of walking on cushions, a whip-like tapering tail from body to tip, sometimes with fur all over the tail or a puff of fur on the tip like a lion, and a muscular body. Sphynx characteristics have become quite standardized now after decades of breeding, but hairless cats have fascinated people long before it was an established breed. Hairlessness in cats kinda just happens sometimes for fun. It's a mutation. The specific mutated gene that makes Sphynxes hairless is a recessive gene, so not all cats who are born with the gene are hairless. They might be carriers who can pass it on to their children. The mutation itself essentially makes their hair follicles extremely weak. Like, they just have really garbage hair follicles, which is why their hair doesn't grow past this little light peach fuzz that they have. Examination of Sphynx hairs under a microscope compared to normal cat hairs found them to be quote-unquote grossly abnormal and lacking hair bulbs. I've also found that with my own cat Kaushik, his hair is really easily, like, pulled out, I guess. Like, if he grazes himself against the coffee table while he and his brother are chasing each other around like crazy little freaks, he'll, like, take off a patch of peach fuzz. The Sphynx breed that we have today, if you have a Sphynx cat today, if you have a Bingus, it is descended from a group of hairless cats that were found living in Minnesota and a group of hairless cats that were found living in Toronto that were bred together and then also bred with the Devon Rex breed to create some genetic diversity. I've known about this for a while. I did some research before I got my cat. However, it occurred to me recently that if it's a mutation that can occur at random, there must have been all these random little Binguses running around throughout history. There was totally some farm in 1573 that had a little Bingus running around. I don't know if that's true, but it very well could be. So I started doing a little research to see if I could find out anything about these historical hairless cats. And oh boy, did I find some things out about these historical hairless cats. I'm obsessed with them and I'm very excited to tell you about them. Okay, so before we get into the historical hairless cats, let's quickly review the current hairless and hypoallergenic cat breeds, because there's a few of them, but I'm really mostly talking about Sphynxes in this video, and I want no confusion. Firstly, there's the Donskoi. They're very similar in looks to Sphynxes, but the two are actually not related. The Donskoi originated in Russia in the 1980s. Interestingly, the gene which makes Donskoi cats hairless is dominant, so all cats born with the gene will be hairless. The Peterbald is a cross between the Donskoi and an Oriental Shorthair. The Cornish Rex originated in Cornwall in the 1950s. They have a very short, curly coat of hair which doesn't really shed much, so they're more one of the hypoallergenic or non-shedding breeds than hairless entirely. The Cornish Rex is curly.
A curly cat? Oh, it's so cute.
The coat is, like the Sphynx's hairlessness, a mutation that was selectively bred for. Devon Rex originated in Devon in the 1960s. According to the International Cat Association, the father of the Devon Rex breed was a feral tomcat with a curly coat who lived in an abandoned tin mine. I don't know, I just like the idea of that guy. It was originally thought that this cat that was discovered and its kittens would be able to contribute to the Cornish Rex breeding program, but it turned out that the gene that caused the Devon Rex's curly fur was different from the gene that caused the Cornish Rex's curly fur. DNA analysis in 2010 actually found that the Devon Rex's unique coat and the Sphynx's hairlessness are different mutations of the same gene. The Selkirk Rex is also a variation on that same gene. They have like long curly fur, so that's pretty interesting. There are some other differences between Devon Rexes and Cornish Rexes as well. Cornish Rexes are generally lankier. Devon Rexes have a very distinctive, like kind of flat, pixie-like face. My Devon Rex Casper, alleged Devon Rex, he's a freak. I won't get into it. But he definitely does have that very flat Devon Rex face, and I find that he kind of breathes like a pug at night sometimes, which I didn't know could be the case with cats, but apparently so. He's also so much dumber than my Sphynx, which I don't think is common. I think Devon Rexes are generally known as a smart breed. I think that's just a Casper special. So in addition to these breeds I've just listed that have a few decades of history, there are some newer ones as well. Variations on the Sphynx, such as the Bambino, the Elf, the Dwelf. These are still—
Oh my god. Oh my god, so cute. I can't.
What you would call experimental breeds. They're considered ethically questionable by some. The Sphynx breed has already had a lot of problems with there being a limited gene pool. We will get into that. Health problems with the breed have decreased a lot over time, thanks to breeders who are attentive to keeping their gene pools diverse and healthy, but continuing to inbreed these cats with multiple mutations for aesthetics rather than health is maybe not the greatest practice. And I really want that to be something that you're aware of if you are an aspiring weird cat owner. Oh my god, hi! A special guest star! Sir.
Aww.
This is my Devon Rex, if you can't tell. He's got a little foof, but only a little bit. Not enough to look like a normal Devon Rex. Possibly the earliest account that we have of the hairless mutation in cats is from a 1930 book, Natural History of the Mammals of Paraguay. At least in English, that's the title. It was originally written in German. The author observed a population of what he called the scant-haired cat. He suggested that they might be descendants of European house cats that had been brought over in the 1600s that had adapted to the warmer climate. I wasn't going to include this account because it seemed kind of minor to me at first, but having now researched the rest of this video, I have returned to the Paraguayan scant-haired cat. And this is interesting, okay? Because what we're gonna see from here on out is a lot of, like, 1 or 2 cats appearing in a litter and rarely reproducing successfully. So the idea that there might have been, even briefly, in the 1830s, a noticeable wild population of binguses running around Paraguay, that's amazing! The next record that we have of some hairless cats is an article published in the Boston Post in 1879. It regards 2 hairless cats who appeared in the Boston Cat Show named Scud and Mystery. According to the article, their mother is a common Maltese cat, and by her these prodigies— did they mean progenies? Is that a typo? Anyway, by her these prodigies— probably progenies, were disowned and neglected from birth. One can scarcely wonder at her conduct, for they look more like dogs than cats, and it is asserted that they have many habits that do not commonly manifest themselves in the members of the feline family. They move very nimbly around the large cage in which they are, and are the cause of many curious surmises as to their origin. Victorian-era cat shows were not exactly like the cat shows of today. Today you see cats being displayed in shows for their impressive pedigree, their perfection, and that was the case back then too, but there was also a minority of cats who were displayed as like curiosities. Cats who maybe had deformities, were otherwise medically interesting, or even had interesting life stories. Like apparently at one point there was a big trend for shipwrecked cats. Like cats that had survived shipwrecks. People went crazy for it, apparently. Victorian cat shows were like, and here you see Monsieur Pussy Tinkles, the most exquisite and voluptuous of the Persians. And over there, well, that's One-Eyed Stink. He was raised by pirates, only drinks rum and eats glass. He was shipwrecked off the coast of Guam, swam 16 miles back to shore, and was made honorary prince of the local tribes. Hairless cats were kind of like that for people. And lucky for all of us serious historians over here, that means we've got a lot of really interesting old records of their appearances at cat shows and things. Oh, hello. The proliferation of photography only made things even more interesting. These are the first hairless cats ever photographed. Their names were Nellie and Dick, and they were born in Albuquerque, New Mexico, somewhere between 1893 and 1895, depending on 2 contradictory accounts that Nellie was either 13 or 15 when she died in 1908. The photos of them that we have were likely taken when they appeared at the 1898 Chicago Cat Show. Their picture was subsequently published in an account of the cat show in Harper's Bazaar, where they were described as the only hairless cats in Christendom. Unlike the modern Sphynx, Nellie and Dick did have whiskers and experienced quite a bit of seasonal hair growth. Apparently they would grow like ridges of hair down their backs in the winter. Today there are some Sphynxes that are like completely uncooked chicken naked, and there are some that have a bit of peach fuzz, and generally the ones with the peach fuzz, it does tend to like thicken and darken a little bit depending on the season. I do find that that's the case with my cats, but it's flipped. I find that they grow more hair in the summer. Can't tell you why that is. We don't know what it was that caused Nellie and Dick's hairlessness, if it was the same gene that causes Sphynx hairlessness today, Donskoy hairlessness, something else entirely. They were never successfully bred. They were from the same litter, so breeding them together was a no-no of breeding ethics. And even if people had decided to resort to that, they couldn't, because Dick escaped the house one night and was eaten by wild dogs, and another suitable mate for Nellie was never found. Her owner also apparently feared that pregnancy would alter her beautiful, her perfectly shaped form. This unique, unheard of type of cat was named the Mexican hairless. Their owner, a Mr. Sphynx, explained that they were not a new type of cat. In fact, Nellie and Dick were the last survivors of an ancient Aztec breed, and they had been gifted to him by the local Pueblo people. Nellie and Dick became something of local celebrities. The Albuquerque Citizen reported in 1903 that Sphynx had given a photo of them to President Roosevelt. When the president saw his old Oyster Bay business card of 1870, which read, "Wright and Sphynx, Carriage Builders, Oyster Bay, Long Island," the president was greatly pleased, and clasping Sphynx's hand said he remembered him well, and was glad to see an old Oyster Bay man out in this fine country. Sphynx gave him a little present for his sick boy Archie. It was a large photo of Aztec cats raised by the Indians, and the only two hairless cats known in captivity. Both the president and Secretary Loeb were greatly pleased with the picture. Nellie and Dick's photos were published a number of times, including in the 1903 Book of the Cat, where they were accompanied by a letter from Sphynx where he wrote, "I have found them the most
famous cats, dude. Even before the internet, we were captivated. It's so funny. I didn't even think about that. Like world-renowned cats before the internet.
Intelligent and affectionate family pets I have ever met in the cat line. They are the quickest in action, the smartest cats I have ever seen. They are fond of a warm bath and love to sleep under the covers at night with our little girl. They seem to understand nearly everything that is said to them, but I never had time to train them. They are marked exactly alike, with mouse-colored backs, with neck, stomach, and legs a delicate flesh tint. Their bodies are always warm and soft as a child's. They love to be fondled and caressed, and are very playful. They will run up and down your body and around your waist like a flash. Nellie weighs about 8 pounds and Dick weighed about 10 pounds. I'm sorry to say, we have lost Dick. We have never allowed them to go out of the house as the dogs would be after them. They were very fond of our water spaniel and would sleep with her. Dick was a sly rascal and would steal out. One night last year, he stole out and the dogs finished him. His loss was very great, as I may never replace him. In the winter, they have a light fur on the back and ridge of the tail, which falls off in warm weather. They stand the cold weather same as other cats. They are not like the hairless dog, whose hide is solid and tough. They are soft and delicate, with very loose skin. Nellie has a very small head, large amber eyes, extra long mustache, and eyebrows. Her voice is now a good baritone. When young, it sounded exactly like a child's. They have great appetites and are quite dainty eaters. Fried chicken and good steak is their choice. Yeah, my cats fucking wish. They have never been sick an hour. Dick was a very powerful cat, could whip any dog alone. His courage, no doubt, was the cause of his death. He always was the boss over our dogs. I have priced Nellie at $300. She is too valuable a pet for me to keep in a small town. Many wealthy ladies would value her for her weight in gold if they knew what a rare pet she is. I think in your position she would be a very good investment to exhibit at a cat show and other select events, as she is doubtless the only hairless cat now known. But that might not have been the case, because you see, in the same year, another book, Rabbits, Cats, and Cavies by Charles H. Lane, was published in England. The author was aware of Sphynx cats and included a section in the book on the Mexican hairless breed, saying that he had found one of these specimens in England. It makes it a little unlikely that they were some kind of ancient Aztec breed then, don't you think? The cat was named Jesuit and belonged to a Mrs. McLaren Morrison, who was known to be a collector of exotic cats and dogs. Lane wrote, "I hope it may prove that they are not quite extinct, as they are different from any other variety with which the writer is acquainted, and so rare as to be exceedingly valuable to all students of natural history, irrespective of their interest to cat lovers." He included an illustration of this cat, Jesuit, which led to a lot of speculation that this cat was Nellie, who had in fact been sold to a wealthy lady as a pet, as Sphynx had hinted in his letter. Because, like, that's the same cat, but we know now that Mrs. Morrison's cat was not Nellie. Maybe there was still some kind of mix-up. Maybe whoever drew this illustration had seen the photos of Sphynx's cat, and those were an influence. There's possibly other reasons why they look so similar. I cannot tell you what the truth is, but we know that Nellie did in fact live out the rest of her life in Albuquerque with Sphynx's family. In 1908, Sphynx planned to take her to Washington to visit with the president, and then on to the Atlantic Cat Club's championship show. The Albuquerque Journal reported, "Nellie, T.J. Sphynx's hairless Aztec cat, left last night with a last plaintive departing yowl on Santa Fe train number 8 for the national capital, where she will exercise the ancient privilege expressed in the familiar adage that a cat may look at a king or a president. The Honorable Theodore Roosevelt will receive Nellie in a private audience, and the Albuquerque hairless wonder will arch her back, glare green-eyed defiance, and raise Cain generally if any aspersions are cast on her authenticity. When she has seen the sights of the capital, Nellie will be taken charge by Dr. Cecil French, a well-known cat enthusiast, who will take her to New York City to exhibit her at the annual cat show, which will be held in Madison Square Garden, commencing December 30th. Nellie represents a species that is unknown on the banks of the Mohawk or Long Island, and is expected to create a sensation in the exhibition. But unfortunately, at the time that they left on this trip, Nellie was already in her teen years and extremely ill, weeks to live at most, according to the autopsy that was conducted, and she did pass away after only one night of the journey. Her loss was announced at the opening of the cat show, and it really was a loss to the cat community at the time because she was somewhat of a celebrity. She was the only hairless cat in America that was known of. The New York Times reported the animal was regarded as something more than a curiosity because of the antiquity attributed to its species, and it was stated by Dr. Cecil French of the Atlantic Cat Club that with the consent of the owner, T.J. Shinnick, the hairless body would be presented to the Museum of Natural History here, and may be offered in evidence that the cat had a part in Aztec as well as Egyptian civilization. For some reason, I do not think they found that evidence. They were an ancient Aztec breed gifted to him by the local indigenous people. Absolute nonsense, absolutely stinks of 19th century white people. Anyway, despite this, Nellie's body was in fact donated to the Smithsonian. In 1937, the Journal of Heredity published a letter from Henry Sternberger, a cat dog from North Carolina. Around the middle of August 1936, a curious litter of kittens was born to a perfectly ordinary appearing pet cat belonging to Mrs. Annie Mae Gannon of Wilmington, North Carolina. Of the entire litter, only one of the kittens is perfectly normal in appearance, the other three being freaks. One of the cats has no tail at all, another only a stub of a tail, but the extraordinary member of this family is the fourth. Well, we can hardly call it a cat, so for want of a better name, we'll call it Nonesuch. He called this cat Nonesuch. Henry Sternberger, I'll fucking kill you. I'll kill for Nonesuch. Look at her little face. I'll kill you! It is said that before the kittens were born, the mother cat was often engaged in fights by a mixed breed dog in the neighborhood. On several occasions was badly frightened by the dog. This is about the only plausible explanation as to why the Nonesuch is so unusual in appearance. The first time I read this, I was like, does this man think the cat fucked the dog? Does this man deadass think that it's half dog? That is thankfully not the case. What he's actually referencing is a long disproven medical theory called maternal impression, which says that, like, the thoughts and the emotional state of a woman while she is pregnant can influence the sort of child that she gives birth to. Yeah, that was the explanation for birth defects. So, wow, it's such a cool time to be a woman. I love that. So in this case, the mother cat's rivalry with this local dog was the reason that she gave birth to a dog thing? In fact, this little animal, now about 2 months old, is about the queerest looking creature one could hope to set eyes upon. Its face is that of a black, white, and yellow spotted dog. Its ears are quite long and sharp pointed. It has the short, pointy whiskers of a puppy. The hind legs are amusingly bowed. It has a stub tail. What makes the Nonesuch even more unusual appearing is the short, smooth dog hair all over its cat-like body. From the moment of its birth, which was about 12 hours after the rest of the litter, the Nonesuch—
You just described a puppy and then you just said cat-like body. I'm confused.
Such was surprisingly independent in its actions. It was born with its eyes opened and was able to crawl a little, two characteristics quite unknown to newborn kittens. Side note, today that is still highly uncommon for the average domestic short-hair kitten, but it is pretty common in Sphynx kittens. The Nonesuch acts both like a cat and a dog. While it makes a noise like a cat, it sniffs its food like a dog. Nothing delights the Nonesuch more than gnawing on a bone in a very dog-like manner. When resting, little Nonesuch places its paws straight out in front, just as a dog would do. The little creature doesn't relish playing with the rest of its family, being entirely contented in stretching out and watching the others frolic about. Despite her apparent shocking freak appearance, Henry Sternberger, I'll kill you. Nonesuch was actually the healthiest of her litter, being the only one of them to make it into adulthood. Later that year, the journal published another letter from Sternberger regarding Nonesuch. Nonesuch has a birthday, and kittens. Nonesuch, the freak cat owned by Mrs. Annie Mae Gannon. Look at this. I love her! Is now a year old.
So cute.
4 kittens were born to this strange dog-like animal about 6 weeks ago. All of the kittens are perfectly normal appearing. 2 of them are spotted with black and white, and brown, a third is black and white, and the 4th is a tabby. The father of the kittens is unknown. Nonesuch has a long, dog-like neck, and her head, ears, and shoulders resemble those of a fox terrier. Very fitting that the boys are rambunctious for today's filming. Her sparse whiskers are short, bristly, and
They
straight.
know.
Her entire body, except for her stomach,
They know you're
which
talking
is as
about
smooth
them.
as the palm of one's hand, is covered with fuzz, which is black, white, and brown in color. Nonesuch becomes alert as a dog if someone whistles for her. She stretches out her forepaws in a dog-like manner while resting. While frightened, she acts very much
Dog
like a
cat.
dog would do in similar
Cat dog.
circumstances, her conduct in this respect being in marked contrast to the other members of the cat family, who arch their back when danger approaches. In spite of all of these unusual characteristics, Nonesuch produced a litter of perfectly normal kittens. What would the next generation show when these kids are cats and have kittens of their own? The editors of the journal expressed the theory that the Nonesuch complex, as they called it, was the result of a recessive mutation rather than maternal impression, and that they would like to genetically test her and perhaps do some inbreeding to verify if this is the case. As far as I know, no evil mad scientists and unethical breeders ever got their hands on her. She never pops up in the media again, so I want to hope that she lived out a good, happy, quiet life. Meanwhile, hairless cats, or Le Chat Nu, were appearing in Paris. A pair of ordinary Siamese cats had produced a litter containing some hairless kittens. In 1938, a French professor, Etienne Letard, who was involved with these hairless Siamese cats in Paris, read about Nonesuch and replied to the Journal of Heredity in his own letter titled Hairless Siamese Cats. He included these photos of the cats, 2 views of hairless Siamese kittens, 12 hours old, and their parents. All of them are hairless, though one has a thin coat of short hairs. Note the fur distinctly visible on the kittens.
Look at the fuzz! The fuzz! Oh my god, it's so cute! Oh!
Especially thick on the ears and in the axes of the limbs. It disappears in a few days, being followed a short time later by another transitory coat. The 2 accounts of Nonesuch, the alleged cat-dog hybrid in the journal, have greatly interested the writer because he has had the opportunity to study a startlingly similar variation in Siamese cats. The accompanying photographs show the appearance of the hairless cats, whose resemblance to Nonesuch is obvious. Letard had actually succeeded in breeding multiple generations of these hairless cats and identifying the cause as a recessive gene. A pair of Siamese cats, perfect in type, with normal hair and coloring, produced from time to time 1 or 2 hairless kittens in a litter consisting of otherwise normal kittens. From these periodically appearing hairless individuals, we have been able to create a strain of hairless cats, which we believe to be entirely pure, carrier and naked Siamese cats. On the left is a normally haired Siamese cat, which mated to a normal haired male produced hairless offspring. She thus carries the recessive hairless gene. At right, a mature hairless Siamese cat, the type of this recessive mutation. If one mates one of the 2 individuals who have produced this mutation with other normal Siamese cats, a hairless kitten has never been produced. Only the mating of the 2 individuals in question produces the mutation. The crossing of a hairless animal with other normal individuals has never produced a hairless cat. We have mated 2 hairless cats, brother and sister. 3 hairless kittens were the result. Thus we find ourselves in possession of a strain, apparently already stable, which might be the origin of a distinct race, resuscitating the ancient race of so-called Mexican hairless cats, which is believed to be extinct. Ah, Shinnick, you really ruined it for everyone. The fact that this mutation was observed in animals which have always lived in Paris proves again that it is not always in special environments that one has to search for visible variations, and emphasizes again the random nature of spontaneous changes in inherited characteristics, which appear to be one of the basic
No, I think it's because a dog scared the cat once.
mechanisms of organic evolution. This is like crazy, okay? Because it's Toronto-based breeders in the 1960s who are usually credited Casper. I'm making a video, Casper. Mummy's making a video. It's Toronto-based breeders in the 1960s who are pretty much always credited with identifying hairlessness as a recessive trait and successfully breeding the cats for the first time. This completely blows that out of the water. It was the French! There are a few other sources I came across about this breeding program in Paris. They are written in French and I cannot read them. I can assume that it must have succumbed to the same fate as some later breeding programs we're going to talk about, which is that the gene pool they were working with was simply not big enough to sustain a new breed. Throughout the next few decades, hairless cats appeared in magazines, journals, newspapers all over the world. They were local celebrities, cat show curiosities. They were all over.
Tiny famous little nude babies. They look so funny. I just love them.
For America, in France, in Morocco, even in Australia. Oh my god, look at this one from Australia, her furry little kittens. But still, no breeding efforts had ever been long-term successful. In 1957, a cat fancier by the name of Fernand Mary wrote, "It is true that completely naked cats also exist, cats without fur, among which we have succeeded in determining a strange mutation linked to a recessive gene. Did the race of hairless cats actually exist in Mexico? No. Did it originate from the short-haired cats of Paraguay? Are they beautiful? That is a different matter. But should you be tempted to possess one, It would be useless to look for one on the market. There are no hairless cats professionally bred. They are simply a curiosity of creation. It wasn't until the 1960s that breeding efforts really kicked off. A California-based couple called the Murrays acquired a male cat named Silky, born to Siamese parents. He was bred with a Siamese female and produced a litter of
I still can't believe this was so recent. Blows my mind.
hairless cats with stubby whiskers and wrinkly skin. The Murrays named their new breed Moon Cats and started Moonglow Cattery. In 1966, Murray told the Independent Press Telegram that hairless cats had been a part of ancient Chinese civilization, and then of course there was the ancient Aztec breed of the Mexican hairless fucking Hexchinic. You just had to go and do it. You should have said you rescued them from a shipwreck. Also in the 1960s, a hairless kitten named Prune was born in the Roncesvalles neighborhood of Toronto. He was quickly scooped up by a U of T grad student named Riyad Bawa. His mother, Yania Bawa, was already an experienced Siamese breeder. The two of them teamed up with some other local breeders. They all conspired to create this new hairless breed. It's like, what, the 7th time that everyone's conspired to create the new hairless breed at this point? The Ottawa Journal reported in 1966, hairless cats for owners with allergies may soon be available, says Riyad Bawa, owner of a hairless tomcat named Prune, who is appearing at the Canadian National Exhibition this year. Bawa said in an interview today—
Wait, for allergies? That's wild. Wouldn't you just want to treat the allergies?
That chances are Prune can make cat history by becoming Big Daddy to a new breed of hairless cats in the next 5 or 6 years. Think what a boon that would be to cat lovers with allergies. Said the University of Toronto graduate student, the cats must remain hairless for 7 generations to be recognized as a breed. Breeding Prune with cats unrelated to him did not succeed in producing any hairless cats. Breeding Prune with his mother, which is a breeding technique known as back crossing, did succeed in producing 16 normal kittens and 18 naked ones. They renamed the breed the Sphynx, which is cool. I do like the name Sphynx. But there is a part of me that kind of wishes it had been moon cats. Moon cats is so cute. They are moon cats! The emerging Sphynx breed was given provisional showing status by the Cat Fanciers Association, which is another breed registry like the International Cat Association.
Wait.
But it had—
Wait, moon cat. But is that where she got her name?
That status revoked in 1971 when the breed ultimately proved to be unstable. The Toronto-based breeders were producing a lot of kittens who were extremely unhealthy and died young or were infertile, which are both telltale signs of inbreeding. Say it with me, kids. The gene pool was not big enough to sustain a new breed. People were just learning over and over again in different countries that 1 or 2 mutants was not enough to base a new breed on. The last 2 cats from the Toronto breeding program were sent to a breeder in Holland, Dr. Hugo Hernandez, who also failed to breed them. Despite this, oh my god, you will see so many badly researched articles out there that state that this breeding program was successful, that Prune is the father of the modern Sphynx breed, that Roncesvalles, Toronto is the birthplace of the Sphynx. It's not true! No living Sphinxes today are traceable back to Prune. And it feels like a little bit of a personal betrayal to me because I lived in Roncesvalles for a while, and at the time I believed this and I was like, that's so cool. Bingus, this is your homeland! My neighbor saw me sitting on the porch with Kaushik on a harness once and was like really excited to tell me about this. And I thought it was true. I thought it was true until now. 1975. Minnesota.
The lights.
A sickly stray cat wandered up to Milt Pearson while he was fishing one day. He fed the cat and brought it home to live among the many barn cats that lived on his farm. A 2012 article told the story of he and his wife and this cat they brought home. The mother cat had a litter of kittens, and one of them did not have any hair. The kitten grew fast and had a long tail, unusual eyes, and big ears. 6 months later, another litter brought 2 hairless kittens. They were so smart, Pearson said. The farm couple found them to be ideal pets. I wrote and sent a picture to University Farm at St. Paul, Pearson said, and they wrote back saying, get rid of them. They're a feral breed. They're going to ruin all the cats in your neighborhood. Get rid of them. Pearson said she couldn't bring herself to follow that advice. Those unique cats were so smart and loving and made good pets. Another time, she wrote to a cat show going on in Minneapolis, asking what they had to do to show a cat. Pearson recalled that the response was something along the lines of, we are not going to show that feral cat you've got there. If you want to bring it in just to exhibit to us what people should not save in a cat, you can do that.
So mean.
At one point, the Pearsons had 14 of the unusual cats. They were nimble, playful, and looked like little old men. They were adorable, Pearson said. Epidermis and Dermis were the names of the mother cats, and the Pearsons had them for about 10 years. Without a coat to protect them from UV rays, the cats were especially vulnerable to sunburn. Milt built a separate cage so that they could be away from the sun and mosquitoes. The Pearsons and their cats appeared in newspapers, did the whole local celebrity thing, much like other cats earlier in the century. Little did they know that by this point, there were people in obscure cat fancier circles who were absolutely frothing to get their hands on some hairless cats. A lady came in one day and said she'd heard about the hairless cats and wanted to see them, Pearson said. The lady from Oregon asked if she was willing to sell them. Pearson said she'd picked a number out of the air that she thought was outrageous enough to discourage her, $200. She asked if she meant one or both, and Pearson said both. The lady took out her checkbook. Mrs. Pearson sold Dermis and Epidermis to a breeder named Kim Muesk,
No way.
Muesk, who then spent years trying to breed them with regular domestic short hairs, shockingly, producing more regular domestic short hairs. Another American breeder, Georgia Gattenby, also acquired 3 of the Pearsons' cats. She had much
When will
more
they
promising
learn?
results breeding them with Devon Rexes. Meanwhile, back in Toronto, in 1978, a cat breeder named Shirley Smith found a litter of kittens and their mother living on the streets, and one of the cats was naked. Here he is, his name was Bambi. It is maybe possible that these cats were some neglected offspring of the previous breeding program that had found their way onto the streets and continued spreading the hairless gene there. It is possible that this was another completely random instance of the mutation. Shirley Smith took the cats in immediately. The mother gave birth to 2 other litters, both of which contained hairless cats. Then in 1983, Smith sent 2 of those cats, named Punky and Paloma, to Hugo Hernandez in Holland, same guy who took the last remaining cats from the failed Toronto breeding program. He still had Prune's last living descendant in his care, and he was going to attempt to breed that cat with these newly discovered Toronto cats. That unfortunately did not work. He instead wound up breeding Punky with a Devon Rex, which produced a litter of kittens with varying degrees of hairlessness, which was good. That's pretty promising results. Over the next few years, Hernandez and numerous colleagues of his throughout Europe were able to build up like a relatively healthy Sphynx breed using Devon Rexes. However, it was ultimately the combination of genetics from the Toronto line discovered by Smith and the Minnesota line discovered by the Pearsons, which really created a strong, healthy, hairless breed, which stood the test of time. If you have a naked little Bingus today, these are their direct ancestors. That's so weird. Cat breeding is whack.
It is. It is really weird. Like, I don't know if it's good, really. I don't know if it's, like, healthy for the animals. I think it's probably not. I don't know. I'm no biologist. They're heckin' cute, though.
I know this video is kind of weird and out of my usual wheelhouse, but I just really, really wanted to do it because I think it's super interesting and I love my cats, and I think that other Sphynx owners deserve to know about this too because it's not information that's that easy to find. Thank you so much for watching this video, my friends. I'll see you in another one very soon.
Okay, I think I'm gonna end it there. Actually, I know I was late, but I'm so tired. I'm falling asleep, and I want to be able to come back at a reasonable time tomorrow. So, thank you everyone for hanging out with me. Appreciate you. I hope you have a lovely evening, day, or whatever. I will be back tomorrow. So, I'll see you then. Drink some water, take care of yourself. Eat fruit, and mind your business.